And welcome everybody, it is now time for week 3 of 20XX, the final week of groups. I am Pat here with Fufu, ready to see the final games that decide who is going to advance onto the playoffs and who is going to go home.
Absolutely. It's very exciting here on week 3 of groups. Honestly, I'm curious how this match is going to end up. There's a lot to look forward to, honestly. There are teams that made their way through the qualifiers, were the top of their class, and are here to compete and throw a little bit of hands.
Yeah, we will see hands, and we'll start as a first game with Gru going against btdx. That's going to be a rough one for btdx because, I mean, Gru, they have 2 wins, they're already qualified. And btdx, they have 2 losses. They're already out of the bracket. So this one is purely for bragging rights.
Bragging rights is it's an interesting way to put it. Not crazy way to put it, but an interesting way to put it because you're not technically wrong. btdx kind of has the opportunity to maybe knock Gogoro down a notch or unfortunately take another loss on their set here. Gogoro has pretty much been unstoppable throughout their plays, exactly as you said. So it's gonna be quite a match here.
Yeah, but let's get right in the game. We're going to start with Clan Blitz on Scourge Gorge. Bet is bringing a range blaster and... is this a mirror match? We're starting with a mirror match.
We are. We're actually starting. That's actually kind of nuts. I think this is the first time I've seen a mirror match game 1.
Not an exact one. It's 2 different range blaster. Gray really likes that vanilla range blaster that has the Wave Breaker. Wave Breaker can allow you to really control space, and it also can allow you to use the range blaster even more. And Gray really loves that weapon.
Yeah, it's down to that chip when you really think about it with that Wave Breaker. It's just free marks, free information with that Wave Breaker. Oh, that bomb could have been very close really quickly right here. We are seeing the try coming up from take a pick already up, taking 2! Huge Zuko right there.
Yeah, thanks to that, btdx should be able to take a lot of control around the middle of the map. The Bagel with a pencil is forcing btdx to really slow down, not take as much control as they should have. Right now the Kraken is going to go forward. That's the perks of having the custom range blaster right there. You can simply get in, but Biscuit is going to punish btdx, opening the skull steal, and with 3 players versus 2, they're likely to get more clans in.
Oh my goodness, yeah, unfortunately we're seeing picks coming down here on btdx, but they're still trying to get these clams in, just one after the other, but I think that might just be the end of the push. So it looks like Gogoro is already setting up underneath the basket, able to, successfully let this basket close, only getting to the score of 65 for btdx, and now it's down to our mid, who's going to be retaking kill. I would say 2 under the fire of 2 players of btdx, unfortunately going down, but they did get the value that they needed, taking 2 members down btdx, allowing Gogoro to actually move it a little bit more, or so we think here. We're still in a bit more of a neutral state.
Yeah, and right now we're trying to set themselves up on top of the map. Once you have that vantage point there, you're in a very good spot, but the range blaster is splatted, and it looks like Gogoro is really struggling to establish themselves onto the map as btdx is back into mid, getting more and more splats with 2 down on each side. btdx is the team that's not that far from the basket and threatening to go in.
Yeah, we are just about halfway through this match as well, so Gogoro definitely has to be making some moves very soon if they want to, take that lead back from the hands of btdx. btdx is set on their defense, set on playing that neutral as best as they can, 1 for 1 on each side. It doesn't look like the tides are going to be changing any moment now, or there's going to be a while till they change, is what I'm trying to say here. Seeing Kraken come out for the side of btdx again, opting to, we're in.
Yeah, that's a trade in the end. Both teams are going to go back, try to defend a little bit, but Gray is trying to get in there, gets punished. That's btdx respawning as they want, and with 30 minutes left, btdx lead is looking better and better with each second that passes, Fufu.
Oh, absolutely here. They are holding their neutral really well. They've been holding their defense as best as they can as well. We are seeing the Slasher coming, unfortunately getting picked off by Biscuit. And that is going to be a chase down. That Tide may just turn in just a second, because that's going to be 3 down on btdx. Wilgro now being able to have control of that mid and just missing one for Power Clam. Power Clam goes in right now. They are not going to be too far from getting this lead if they can continue to get those picks. And picks they do. Able to get one off the blaster, which is huge. And that's going to be the lead swap in the favor of Grogro.
Yep, Gru, they got the lead and they're still under that basket. They have more clams there that are going to the basket. They're taking their time. Here comes the PD clam going in 18-15. Just a few more clams would be enough to get a KO. And right now, Gru is looking incredibly strong. btdx able to push things away, but not to push things fast enough. Only one more clams is all Gru would need, but now they have to give ground back as they are keeping some control of the mid going into the last minute.
And it is, oh my goodness. Yeah, no, that push was ridiculous. Down to 3, only a minute left, and btdx just has a mountain to climb. I love this pace that like Gogo was playing at. They were playing still waiting for that full opportunity, and they were just able to absolutely go insane and just get down to those 3 points.
Yep, and right now it's on btdx to really get back the control that they had for so long during this game. But now Gru, when they have the momentum, when they have paint on the ground, they are getting more and more and more. The Kraken is coming, has to go away from the basket because there is nobody to follow through. And btdx wants to keep their player right now. 1 down on each side. Delta trying to find a way in. btdx know that it's do or die right now, but they don't have the numbers. They don't have the clams. And with 5 seconds left, it looks incredibly hard for btdx to come back in the game right now.
Yeah, that pit is way back right now, and while btdx does have that mid, it's going to be Grover that's going to be putting pressure on them very soon to try and keep them as far away from their basket as they can. Power clams are building up on the side of btdx. Members are going down on Grover, but I don't know if they're going to be able to reach this basket in time with the seconds ticking down here over the clam holder getting taken now. Are they going to be able to put that in? Not quite, with the game ending in the favor of Grover.
And that is game number 1 for Gru right there. Really, they played it so patiently. They let btdx have the lead, have control of the map for most of this game, but the second they were able to find the way in, to find that one good push, they were in and they almost got a KO in a single, even the single opening of the basket. That was incredible to watch, and from then on it was just waiting again for btdx to make a mistake, because they knew that btdx was at that point so behind that they needed to run forward.
No, absolutely here. Grover just, the absolute patience paid off. It's like they had confidence in their own abilities that they were able to do, you know, take that lead no matter what. They're like, okay, we can play. They quite literally passed the halfway point. I think it was not to like 2 or so minutes where they were like, okay, now we can push. And then that was the insane push that we saw not too long ago.
Yeah, and Gru, they were trying to create that push for several times. At some point, we saw Gray very much forward with the blaster, trying to camp the super jump, but getting punished by the pencil on the side of btdx. If that encounter happens a little bit differently, Gray gets a triple, and then Gru gets the push at that point. It really was a very small matter of a few things, but Gru, again, they were preparing that one big push. btdx not able to stop them from having that.
Oh my goodness, it's just this crazy stuff back here, Pat. Crazy stuff that we saw.
Yeah, crazy stuff indeed. We're going to see more crazy stuff going into the next game. btdx have chosen their counter pick. It's going to be Hagglefish on Splat Zones. I mean, it's the classic map mode of Splatoon 3. It's the map mode that we always see at some point in the tournament. It's the classic one where you have your 3 lanes going around and in the zone, and you have to go forward, get ahead of the zone, and hold it for as long as you can.
Oh my goodness. Don't even get me started on the Hagglefish. Oh my goodness. Hello. Is my camera doing things? My camera's doing things. It's doing sparkly things.
You are looking wonderful, Fufu.
It's having a moment here. I think this card's just having a moment for me here. But no, Haggle Fish Market, my absolute beloved. Don't even get me started this map because I will talk for 5 hours. I will talk for 5 hours, Pat.
Let's go! Let's go! Do we have the time, Brownie? Can well, do we have 5 hours right now? Stop the games.
We might. Oh, come on. You can give me 5 hours to talk. Come on. I think it'll kill you.
Well, we are out of time. It's time to no longer time to talk, time to splat right there. But the Gravitator is coming on the side of btdx. Meanwhile, Grugru are switching away from the splatter shot for a Splashomatic. Splashomatic on this map, I mean, Crab Tank on this map is such a good special. It's such a great way to have in, especially if your opponent is bringing a bubbler. Having a crab to shred it is really a good pick. Poo-poo?
Hello? There we go. I'm so sorry.
Yep.
It's been having a moment. It looks like we're up and ready here. No, yeah, we're seeing some crazy stuff happen in the zone right here. We are seeing Gogro be pretty dominant, already having that zone in their favor, but it looks very close to possibly, no, not even that neutral state is going to be coming down in the favor. Gogro still having a hold of that zone. Not letting BTD, oh, never mind, BTDX is able to grab that zone here, put a bit of penalty points, and they're looking to move forward with those strikes in their favor.
Yep, not stopping, but Gugu is still around the zone, still ready to take things back, and Kyo with that double. As Biscuit is activating that Crab Tank, is going to give the zone back to Gugu right there. BTDX is pretty much pushed away, it's just Delta, and Delta is already splatted. Everybody from BTDX is back from spawn trying to get in there, and it's not working right as well as they hope for. Gray and Kyo going in there trying to get a few more splats as there is no more penalty, Fufu.
Yep, penalty points out of the way. It is now free reign. As long as they can keep the zone in their favor, they can get a massive payoff of points. We are seeing that bubble on the side of BTDX to help try to cap the zone here, but it might not just be enough. There are both teams baited zone doing all they can. Those strikes from BTDX might just steal a deal, capping the zone, applying those little bit of penalty points onto Grugro. But just as fast, that zone is flipping back in their favor, not even allowing them the chance. Oh, that's going to be a funky jump. There we go. Blaster quickly punishing that.
Yep, it's not stopping, and right now Grugru is playing the long game of staying under that ledge, making sure that nobody can really get in without being in incredible danger. Right now BTDX trying to get in, they don't have the specials there, and they just lost their Decavitator. It's going to be pretty rough to push, but here comes the triple ink strikes. All of Grugru need to paint right now, but with a big bubbler onto the zone, that's going to be a flip for BTDX. Keeping themselves alive in that game.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it, but the crab was actually able to take two there onto BTDX, and no, it's just a really quick retake there for Grogor as well. They, you know, they're starting to go back and forth here, but BTDX does have to find a spot to get a large hold. We can't just keep flip-flopping because it is definitely going to be in the favor of Grogor just like that. How? The burst bomb all the way from over there. Hold on, I want to... What?
Honestly, if you're playing Splash, get some sub power, because having extra distance on this burst bomb can go a very, very long way, pun intended. As I say, that Kyo getting in the bubbler, getting a splat, looking to get a second one against Mecha. Mecha is defending and keeping the zone painted as much as they can. There, now it's working. BTX keeps the zone, but Biscuit activating the Kraken tank from the side, already getting one, looking to get another. And these lob shots are raining down terror onto everybody as BTX is forced to move away.
It's gonna take me a second to get over that crowd position because that was nasty. That was a really good position to play because not only the pick, just so much pressure, crossfire pressure. But just like that, we are seeing that zone flip again in the favor of BTDX. They just gotta find a way to hold this under the pressure of Grogro. Ooh, that Tuka might just help them because that is gonna be a splash up and out of the way. And members continue to fall on the side of Grogro. Wait! This might just be it. This might just be the opportunity that BTDX was looking for. They are rapidly approaching that lead.
Yeah, this was a delayed wipe by BTDX right now, staggering Grugru, and Grugru are struggling to get out there. Delta on the side with that slosher, creating havoc in the spawn, and still in there. Delta absolutely delaying Grugru for so long. Now Grugru, they need to run forward. They have no choice but to run forward at the zone with everything they have. Here comes the strikes. of the strikes are enough to paint, but Grugu lost 2 players in the process. btdx stays in control.
Yeah, they were able to just stagger them out. Ooh, Bazooka getting punished by Bagel. Bagel just barely skipping the hair of death right then there, but it looks like Grogo is quickly moving themselves back in. Going to be trying to get the zone with that crap to provide a bunch of pressure here. That zone is still not capped. They are still waiting on that, finding those pigs, giving themselves a little more space right here. Basically, you are fighting and taking that Geekap head on and winning. Oh my goodness. Oh my god, it looks like Grogo's turn to come into the base of btdx, give them a little bit of a taste of their own medicine here, try and have this hold to knock out, because this is going to be going right into overtime if I'm going to guess.
Yep, right now Grugu out of penalty, simply looking to hold a little bit longer, but btdx, they have 3 specials at the ready. The strikes are one of those. The Butler is deployed very far away from the zone. Grugu able to paint over the strikes as they are splatting btdx, taking game number 2 in a nice comeback.
That was an insane, that was almost close, I would have to say there. btdx had an amazing hold until just the very end where they got collapsed upon. It's just like, just when you think things are going to get bad for Grogu, they turn around overtime and they are done. I love the positions they were in. I love the pencil right there, Bagel playing a little bit more towards the center there to give, you know, just put themselves as an extra set of backup, if that makes sense. You know, hey, we can punish whoever gets too close, and they have the space to disengage or engage as necessary. And I think that was huge, especially with the front pressure from Grogu at the end.
Yeah. But we're starting to see a pattern of btdx playing pretty nice in the first half of the game, taking control, taking the lead, having good points for themselves, but in both games we saw Grogu coming back with an even stronger push. And it's again btdx, they're able to fight Grugu, they're able to get forward, make a lot of points, but in the end Grugu playing the long game, knowing that the whole game is 5 minutes, and when these 5 minutes are over, Grugu is winning. It's really like their ability to stay on top of what's going to happen, know when the best opportunity is to take the points, is really impressive.
It very much is. I have a small theory about that. I think it's down to a bit more mentality. Grogu, I think, is still, you know, they have these 2 games. They probably walked in and like, okay, no, we got this. Because I think what also could be happening is as btdx is probably, you know, they have this lead, they have these points, and the tides are in their favor. One case, they get a little bit anxious. We get a little bit anxious, like, hopefully nothing happens. And I think that can also like change the way one's plays slightly. And I think Grogu is definitely taking advantage of that. Or Grogu just has the confidence as well to just be like, oh no, we got this, and just go and take those huge risks at the end that allow them to take these leads. So anything can happen. Well, that's just a theory. That's just a theory on my end, but it doesn't seem far from, you know, a reasonable reason.
Yeah. I mean, if one thing is for sure is that Grugu, they're used to the pressure of being behind in a top level tournament. These guys have been playing Splatoon since forever, not necessarily together, but they know everything there is to know at top level Splatoon. They're used to that pressure of 20xx, and they're showing that, yeah, they can get a comeback without much trouble. And right now btdx sticks to zone, and I think that's a good choice from them. They were playing well there. They were not that far from getting the win. And this time they're going to go on to Robo Roman.
Oh, I love Robo Ramen. This is another one. Give me another 5 hours. We got 10 hours in the broadcast. Don't you worry. We got a little bit of time. Robo Ramen, if you guys heard me before, you're going to hear it again because I love the center being very open. This still makes backlines reliable on this map. But you also have your front lines that, you know, this isn't a hallway. Well, you have the bottom passages that you can take either long clicks or be a little bit silly in your approaches here, depending on what mode you're playing. There is a lot to do in this map. It's E for everyone, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, there's a little bit for everybody. There's a lot for a pencil, of course, which like can put a sprinkler above the zone, which is always adorable and a powerful move. Also, what I've found to be incredibly effective is slushers and blasters, and on both teams we have incredible slushers. Delta for btdx, and of course Kyo for Grugu, who is, I mean, such like a beast with that weapon. You have so many opportunities to have these these AoE weapons to, I mean, as you said, there's a little bit for everybody, but pay attention to these slushers. They're likely to decide the game.
Oh, absolutely. I'm excited to see what's going to be coming out. I love that decap's still coming out. I can't even lie. I love these decaps. We have Okay, so we still have slushes on both sides decaps. It's almost mirrors except for Biscuit holding out these dualies.
Yeah. And it's Gray on the slusher this time as Kyo is bringing the decapitator. We're going to see what Kyo is able to do with that sword, I guess. And right now, it looks like both teams are getting a few players down. btdx able to capture the zone during that fight. Kyo is still to the side and is completely called out. He's going to have to move a little bit away. Grugu activating the crack tank onto the zone means they get the zone.
Yep, that zone now flipped in purple here. I feel like we're gonna be going a little bit back and forth here as we start off because that zone flips just as fast already. But 2 down to btdx. It looks like Grogu is gonna be looking to flip the zone again once more. Nelson's got to fight against the pressure of 2 players there. I believe they might just have to disengage entirely, or unfortunately, how are you alive? You're feeling whimsical down there. It proves distraction, but unfortunately, btdx is gonna be, still 1 short right there. Grogu has that zone in favor, has a lot more turf in their favor, so they're gonna be having a lot to work with right there.
Yep, right now Kyo is down. btdx is moving forward with a big bubbler onto the zone, but the strikes in the bubbler are going to punish the decapitator right there. btdx still able to take that zone and right now able to win a few good fights. They are in control right there, and Biscuit's crab tank was not able to do much. Biscuit still able to win the fights though and hold themselves in that position, getting splat after splat finally punished.
Yes, Knives is able to grab 2 actually off of that as well. They're going to be able to cap the zone as well. They're done with their penalty points. They're trying to look at this lead here very quickly. Again, this is only the early stages of the game. We haven't even broke past our 50 points yet. That was a silly fight.
That was a very silly fight right there. That's btdx taking a bit more control, but as I say, that Grugu is back forward. And now that they have some control, we know what Grugu likes to do. Once they have a push, they try to make the best of it, try to stay in control as much as they could. Kyo going in there, forcing Bet to look to the side right there as Gray is applying so much pressure with the bucket. And Grugu is not stopping, they're still going in. Biscuit with the Julies. Really not stopping, and they don't care because they have the tactical already. They'll be able to jump back in there, and they already have the crab tank to follow through.
I think that's fair enough there from C Money. That was a decap battle that got incredibly city, and that is going to be 3 down on Grugu. btdx is sitting pretty comfortably. This zone in their favor. These penalty points are almost out of the way. They are going trade for trades, but again, a lot of this is in their favor. A lot of the turf is in their favor right here. All they gotta really do is stop Gogo from winning. No!
That's a way to end the duel, I guess. btdx, they're not going to be able to get the lead as Grugu is repainting the zone, but we're very close in terms of points right now. If any team is able to get a good score onto the zone again, we could get a KO as btdx is repainting the zone, but having to move away as everybody from Grugu is surrounding it. And Grugu, they're not trying to paint the zone right now, they were trying to go for the fight, and it's exactly what is working with the bubbler plus crab tank combo. They are in control. btdx is stuck in their spawn right now.
Yeah, Gogo pushing this aggressive lockout right here, but it looks like btdx might be able to recover quickly if they're able to continue to get these picks. They're going 1 for 1 basically, but oh my goodness. No, yeah, it's going to be tough if you're just going trade for trade here. Biscuit on 2, trying to get 3, unfortunately not able to do so. Gogo is looking very close to a knockout. Money's trying to find these picks, getting 1, but unfortunately going down. It's going to take a miracle here for btdx to try and go through. We are seeing Delta come in from the back, trying to get some sort of strike, some sort of paint on the zone here. I don't even think that's enough for it. It's enough to neutralize it and get the zone. Applying that 50. That's 3 down. That's a wipeout.
I mean, they avoided the KO. They paid the price for it. That's what they needed to do to avoid the KO, was to run at the zone and paint it desperately. Grugu very happy to let them cap the zone right there as they get a wipeout, as they get more control, and there's still Biscuit right in the spawn. absolutely forcing everybody to run away. Simo trying to be on the zone with the bubbler. It is pretty late, but btdx, again, that's what they need to do. They need to paint the zone right now as Gugu is so close to a KO.
Yeah, it's just getting very desperate almost, it seems, there at the end. And just like that, Gruger just able to get that KO by the hair at the very end. This whole game felt like a cat fight. Constant back and forth. It got a little silly until we saw just the pretty big dominant hold there from Gruger at the end.
Yeah, Gruger really, once they had that control, once they were in the positions they wanted to be, really dominated that zone, really had so much. And again, btdx were able to do that. They were able to do the fight until that moment happened when Grugu was in the position they wanted to be. And from then on, btdx did not have an answer. Now btdx, well, Fufu, it's a best of 7. btdx, they have one more game, one last counter pick to understand what Grugu is doing, how to break this incredible position, how to stop Grugu when they have that momentum, that lead that they want to have. And right now btdx, they hit their final shots to find a solution to do that.
Indeed, and they've been getting relatively close, if you ask me. Each passing match has been getting closer than what it was than when it started. So btdx is definitely showing that they have been adapting, but unfortunately, it just hasn't been enough under the pressure of Grogo. They got close. I mean, look at this match. It was not until basically they got wiped out where the match was really sealed in place, even after they were aggressively locked out by Grogo. So I want to see if they're, finally they could see the fruits of those efforts and take a game 4. Take the game 4 here that we're seeing. It could be anything. I want to see what the counter pick is though, because that changes a lot. The map means a lot.
The map does mean a lot, and it needs to be a map where btdx should be able to come back onto the map better, because I mean, if they take a lockout heavy map, Guru is going to take that lockout position. btdx won't be able to stop them, I feel. They need to find a way in. Mm-hmm.
It's not impossible, because we saw during this match that they were even able to get out of that aggressive lockout position that Grogo has put them in. That being said, Grogo likes to be very risky on their lockout as well, which gave btdx the opportunity to make their way through them as well. They like to play very risky. I mean, I think the only exception was that Hagglefish zone, where they had their pencil pretty, in a really good spot, a little further behind to act as an extra safety net. But it really does depend. Well, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we'll see what is chosen by btdx. They're taking their time to get the counter pick right now. I don't see it coming, but yeah, I mean, it's their final game of 20xx. Their final counter pick. Every game they play now could be their last. If they need to keep winning to stay in the tournament a tiny bit longer. So they need to do their best. They need to pick their best, and it's going to be on Clan Blitz this time. We're back to Clan Blitz, but on Umami Runes.
Oh, I have some more choice words about this map. Oh, goodness. The thing about Umami is, the lockouts you're talking about? Yeah, this map mode is nasty on lockout. Like, if you get locked out, you are not in for a good time. So I think it's going to definitely be one of these moments of, okay, one of y'all is going to have to lock out and make it count. Because, because our first match was Clan Blitz, if I remember correctly. And we saw that btdx is good at this map mode, but then Groger was able to have a more sustained and longer push. So hopefully it won't be a repeat of that if you are btdx.
Oh, and Bagel is bringing a well string, a custom well string. That's a novel pick, as Gray is playing the Zap right there. Gray is also an incredible painter and support player. Right now, it's I guess we're going to see top level Wellstring now.
I am so excited. I don't think you understand the power that Wellstring has. It can quite literally lock out areas. It can fight at close range. While it's a hard one to master, it is crazy, especially if you have the chip on the board. So it can pair really well with that decap, if you ask me. I'm excited to see this. You have no idea.
Yeah, well, Right now, Biscuit still activating, but Crab Tank has to make do with Delta, dancing around that cover. Both players are going to trade right there, but it's just Bagel left standing for Grugu, keeping two Super Clams alive as btdx is running towards the basket. That's going to be a hard respawn, but Biscuit able to get a splat right there. The Clams are alive for Grugu now. Now they need to defend.
Yeah. Indeed. It looks like Gogoro is able to defend quite well here. Kill going in for a trade, but unfortunately it looks like that zap is going to be going down on the side of Gogoro. Just when you think things might start turning around, btdx is coming in to add more pressure, add more kills to the board right here. Oh, that was close. That was very close. Daycat coming in trying to find a pick, but not quite able to find it. Looks like even after all those picks, we're still a little bit more in a neutral state. No one has quite been able to fully reach the basket or base of the other.
Yeah, we're still in that neutral phase where both teams are trying to get the upper hand. Both teams have a Super Clam though, so it's pretty risky. If you let the other team simply get in, get the jumps in, you could lose a lot of points very fast, especially in 3 down. It's laid wide onto Grugu. btdx are going to run at the basket, open it, and with a big bubbler, they're gonna make good points right there. They have another Super Clam that's ready to get in.
And in it goes, indeed, dropping that score down to 54, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be the end of that push with half of btdx going down right here. We are seeing that first push of the game go in their favor, but Gogo very quickly retaking the center, which I love. I think what I like seeing is that these teams understand fully that, okay, turf is power. So mid needs to be in their favor. Mid, you know, we need all this paint if we want this area. And I absolutely love it.
Yep, and right now we get more and more, but it's Grugu's turn to score onto the basket. Biscuit in such a strong position right there, dodging everything, keeping the basket alive, one clam at a time, but scoring the clams a bit more slowly. You make sure that you have more time to score. 2 minutes left on the back, and this time Grugu is with the lead. I see a kind of a repeat of what we saw earlier for Grugu. Waiting for the right opportunity, getting the lead, and once they have it, it's on Bet to really shake things up. We haven't seen them do that yet. We'll see if they're able to do it in this game.
Yeah, it's gonna get a little bit rough here for btdx, indeed, because Gogo's defense kind of goes hard. The thing is, there's definitely a difference in the scores. Wait, yeah, Gogo is again. They're gonna bring this score even lower. They do have a pity in their base, but I don't know if Aqua's gonna be able to go and grab that and bring it in. See the jump come in. Are they gonna get it in? And that's it. Grogu with the clutch power clam bringing this game and said home.
And that's not only a KO, that is a 4-0 victory for Grugu right there. Showing how dominant they have been in this group of 20xx. Grugu winning every set in this group are going to advance onto the playoffs as the first seed from their side.
What crazy stuff. They showed us why they're undefeated in their groups here. What an insane set. Although these games were closer than what the score presents itself, it still, you know, Grogu still won 4 in a row. They were able to come back 4 in a row. That's insane.
Yeah, that was indeed incredible. And I mean, that's the dominance that a team like Grugu can have when they are in control, when they can do what they do. I mean, given the players that they are, we have 4 absolute legends of this game, of this series of games. They have seen so much, and that experience and that ability to practice and to play at the top level for so long allows them to do pretty much whatever they want and learn the well string and the decapitator in 3 months and be like the best with it. That was incredible to watch. And well, yeah, congratulations to them. You are making it to the playoffs, and you're eligible for that nice prize pool.
Indeed. Oh my! I don't know. I just can't get over just how satisfying it was to watch Grogu do their thing. It's just every micro opportunity was taken. I'm not over that.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to move on to the next game of tonight, which will be Fluffy versus Datkid. And before we do that, Fufu, let's look at the predictions that we did before this set started. And I mean, on the predictions for Guru versus btdx, yeah, we were pretty unanimous. We all knew it was about to happen. On the next game, Fluffy versus Datkid, I don't agree with everybody here. Me and Popgun are the odds one.
Y'all are peas in a pod with the same prediction there. Well, most of us, you know, we have our biases. We have our biases with Fluffy. You know, Black Lotus back here. Y'all two are quite literally the only ones left, and we're gonna be finding out which one of those teams is going to be coming out on top. So I don't know, Pat. It's our prediction versus yours.
Hey, with all the love that I have for Black Lotus, I've been very impressed by what Datkid does, and Datkid's fans as well. And I feel like it's going to be a very hard-fought game between these two teams, and I can't wait to watch more right after the break. So we'll take a short break, and we'll...
Hello everybody, welcome back. We're back from our bit of a break here to bring you the next group round of 20XX. Before I even say anything for our matches, I want to mention that we just got a 10 gifted bomb in the chat. We have a whole hype train going on back there. I just need to point that out, so I'm just saying.
Yeah,
also, hey,
really nice. Thank you. Hey, Fufu, we get to 2 more games. And this one is a special one. The previous one was just like to show who's boss. This one decides who gets to the playoffs, who is going to advance onto the next stage of competition. So there is very much a lot at stake between Fluffy Black Lotus and Datkid fan club.
Also, the fact that we may have put like our entire life savings on that, but that's just me. I don't know. I think it's turned into a money match because I put my whole life savings, half my life savings, into this match. So there's a lot of feel pat, but I'm excited to see where this goes because, as you said, this is
Do not gamble your life savings, please.
Someone gambled their house. It can't get any worse.
Okay, well, don't do that. Don't do that.
Unless. Don't look at me like that. If we win, then I guess the house is ours.
I guess so. Well, Fufu, let's see what these two teams have done during this whole seasons. And oh, by the way, yeah, the team that wins will be the one facing Gru because they were on the other group. So both of these teams won against Celeste or had the absence from Celeste, but they both lost to Metro, meaning now we're going to see the tiebreaker between these two teams, which teams will advance. And yeah, the team that wins this one gets to face Gru in semifinals.
Oh, how exciting, isn't it? It's just, it's not a fight for glory. Well, it kind of is a fight for glory at the same time. It's just like, okay, it really is just different of who makes it and who doesn't. Dude, part of me wants to see this go to a game 7 out of, pure, a little bit of selfishness. I'm not gonna lie. To really bring it out.
I mean, these top level players, they're so fast, they're so precise, so well coordinated. It's like seeing 8 people dancing, and it's really beautiful to watch. I love seeing that level of play, and 20XX is providing today as it has been providing for the past month, and I mean the month before that for the qualifiers. We've come a long way, Fufu, and we get to see one more set in Fluffy versus Datkid fan club. I can't wait. We will start with the same map mode that we did for Gru and btdx. It's going to be Clam Blitz on Scorch Gorge.
I'm a little bit of a Scorch hater, I'm not gonna lie. But it's not the worst of maps. The main thing you have to worry about... yeah, you're a Scorch Gorge liker, aren't you?
I'm an all maps liker, Fufu. I love everything about this game, and I love to see Anger coming with a tent right there. That tent, well used, and Black Lotus, they know how to use that tent. That tent can deal a lot of damage and allow your whole team to move forward with a moving wall.
Oh, absolutely. And I feel like it's going to work great against Datkid Phantom's Pencil, especially considering that Pencil doesn't have that option, but it will have trouble against the Blaster. I've noticed that basically every team that we've seen today has had a Blaster at some point, and oh my goodness, the Blasters are kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, Blasters are on the rise. They're getting better and better. As I say that, Black Lotus opening pretty strong, getting 2 down onto Datkid, but not able to get onto the basket yet. They are still waiting for the opportunity as Datkid is respawning, is getting back in there and taking some control again. We're still in that fight for mid as both teams are looking for a way to get something. Datkid activating the Kraken. We have a Kraken duel. They're both going to dodge each other. Neither Kraken able to get much, except, I mean, they force the other one to do the same thing.
Just a little bit of dancing, a little bit of silly. Still able to find, but able to find 2! Trying to find a 3rd on that Pencil. The Pencil being able to get out just in time with the power of that tactical jump. But it looks like Datkid, not Datkid. Yeah, Datkid is already under the base of Black Lotus. So this is going to be a little bit rough here for Black Lotus as they have to find a way to defend right here. They are one down here, so it's going to get a little bit tough. We're going back and forth.
Yep, it's And with that, Black Lotus were able to push Datkid right before they opened that basket. That is no point for Datkid. And with a few players down, Fluffy is going to take a lot of control back onto mid right now. All they need to do is pick a few more clans, and they should be able to push now.
Indeed, but it looks like a lot of the members of Datkid fan club are starting to make their way back here. I feel like they might have taken a little bit too much time here before they were able to, trying to find an opportunity instead of taking the opportunity that was in front of them, I would argue a little bit. Because just like that, we are seeing Datkid fan club trying to move their way back to base. We're basically splitting the neutral between the two teams right now.
Yep, it's such a back and forth. Both teams want that big push, and I feel like both teams were under the basket at some point, but hesitated a little bit because they wanted that one big push that puts all the clams in, and they didn't have enough for that. So both teams simply recognizing that, preparing a better push for later. But now we're halfway through the game, and I feel like any push could win this one as long as one team is able to get something. Datkid is able to make a super clam, is activating the Kraken and forcing, just roaming around the map trying to find something.
Yeah, I think arguably both of these teams are just trying to find anything they can here. What a Zuka right there, able to find one of the picks on one of the members of Black Lotus. Looks like Miner going in, taking a lovely pick right there. That is going to be 2 down on the side of Black Lotus. But with that Kraken coming out, it looks like it's blocking this ramp here. It's still not allowing Datkid fan club to get the push they wanted. That might just change in a second. Cooler is now in their favor, and they are just running at this, getting 2 power in right off the bat, bringing that score down to 60, which could be huge. They put it in with the intention of getting right out. We saw that Cooler come out, they put him in, and they both managed to live coming out of that encounter.
Yeah, and thanks to the tactical, Datkid is right now back to the middle of the map. We're back to the spot we were before, in which both teams are simply trying to fight around the middle in here. 2 players down on each side, but Black Lotus, they're behind in points now. They need to paint more, they need to get more anger, getting in there with the tent. Not finding much thanks to that Zuka, and getting punished. That is huge. Datkid getting a few more picks. They're going to move forward as Knives is kind of the last players to defend right there, able to splat Miner to allow the rest of Black Lotus to get back in.
Absolutely. It looks like things are getting a little bit more desperate here on the side of Black Lotus as well. If you are them, I'm saying you have a score of 60 to get down to and are continuously dropping members. This is where you really got to keep your head in the game and make sure that you are staying alive, being a little more coordinated. Compared to Datkid Backup, where they're just moving in at this point. They're able to find a lot of space with just the picks that they are getting, and it is looking rough for Black Lotus right now.
Yeah, basket is reopened as Datkid is getting more and more Miner dancing around. They're not able to splat Miner, it takes so much time, and the rest of Datkid is able to get back, put more clams in the basket with just 15 seconds left. Datkid was so close to a KO now. Black Lotus are back into mid, have an opportunity, but they need to take it, and they need to come in strong. It's going to be an overtime push for them.
Yep, and they have 2 power clams in their possession here. They have to make everything count here. With 3 of them basically put together here, it's going to be a little rough. Seeing that Zuka come out, seeing the Kraken come out from Black Lotus as well. Just trying to push the members way backward with the Miner in the back, taking some picks. I think that's going to be just enough. That's 4. That's a wipeout. That's going to be it for Black Lotus, unfortunately. With just the wipeout, that calls the game. Datkid fan club dominantly taking game 1.
And what a game 1. I mean, in terms of scoring, Datkid has that big push that allowed them to score so many points. But most of the game, Black Lotus was there again. It wasn't that far off. Black Lotus only didn't manage to get that one push. Every time they had their tent in position, every time they had something to go in, it did not connect, it did not perfectly coordinate, and they didn't get the push that they wanted. And as the game went on, they needed a bigger and bigger push, and it didn't work their way right there. You see Noctis getting in there with a Kraken, forcing a lot of aggro, but the rest of the team is not able to follow right there. That could have... Yeah.
No, sorry. Yeah, I was like, oh wait, no. Oh my goodness. But no, yeah, I think it was also down to the amount of risk taking because we saw a good chunk of risk takes from Datkid fan club. And Black Lotus, I think, they wanted to take the same risk or wanted to, take that push together, or we're playing just a little bit too safe sometimes. And when the risk did come out, it just wasn't as a whole. And I think that was their biggest downfall during this match.
Yeah. Yeah, and when you talk about risk, the thing is, for a risk to pay off, you need to be able to move fast. And for the love I have for the tent, it's not as fast as a slosher. It's forcing Black Lotus to wait a little bit more, to prepare for that tent to be up. They can get stronger pushes, but they have to wait for it to happen. Whereas on the other hand, Datkid Fan Club, instead of a tent, they have a slosher. And suddenly, they are moving incredibly fast. They're all around the map much faster than Black Lotus can be. Black Lotus, no hesitation from them. They are going onto Umami zones. We saw Umami earlier, but it was on Clan Blitz. Today, for these two teams, it's going to be on zones. Reminder, in counterpick, you cannot go back to a map that has been played.
Yep, we love our counterpicks in this house, but honestly, Umami Zones is going to be a very interesting map because you have the 2 zones to worry about. We did see the changes, so we know that to bring it to a neutral is a little bit harder, but still, a team can quite literally control a stall and make sure the other team can't get all the points they want without risking, going fully down. They can play a neutral more reliably.
Yeah, a small change. Noctis is switching to the vanilla range blaster. Again, we saw Grey deal a lot of damage thanks to these wave breakers, able to use the weapon to its best. Noctis is also very much a blaster aficionado, so we'll see if he's able to do the best of it right now. Datkid opening incredibly strong, getting 4 splats and moving in. Minor has to move away because of the mines, but that's Datkid in control already in the start of the game.
Datkid is running on some insane momentum here. We saw just how quickly they were able to move in. They were able to get 3 down in like a span of like a second. I don't know if you saw that, just the cluster of just unfortunate deaths that are going on the field, but it looks like Black Lotus is not done yet, quickly trying to move themselves in here. And I think it's just, they gotta get that ping to support themselves there on that push with that kid coming, the dad of that kid coming in with the Kraken, trying to make a little bit more space. They're in the base.
Yep, and it's not stopping, but Fluffy is back forward, trying to get in, able to paint one of the zone, but you need to paint both before you're able to apply penalty right now. That kid is still in that fight, but no, never mind. With Bazooka, Black Lotus is on top of the map. 50 points has been scored onto them. Now it's their turn.
Oh my goodness. Yep, time to turn the tides here. We are seeing specials come online. Well, a special come online from the side of Datkid. Bazooka trying to find a pick. Unfortunately, not able to quite find it. I love where that pencil is set up for the side of Black Lotus. Up in the center, just trying to, keep the space in their control as best as they can. It's just, the game is in neutral. The zones are neutralized, but picks are coming out left and right. And Black Lotus is still able to control that zone in their favor, despite, the entire encounter.
Yep, and it's going to be a lead swap for Black Lotus, able to keep the zone a little bit longer, get a bit more right now. But that kid is still around. We're going to have a huge team fight for the fate of the zones right there. It looks like that kid are going to win that fight with Q down onto Black Lotus. Black Lotus is going to have to give a little bit of ground. Noctis gets punished. That is huge right now. That kid will be able to go forward and apply all the pressure.
Indeed, especially because they're forcing Black Lotus in a bit of a corner right there. We are seeing, we are seeing players in the pit and, players forced to move back or unfortunately go down. We saw that unfortunately that jump was camped out and killed.
Yep, and right now, Datkid Fan Club, they have no penalty left. The pencil is down for Fluffy, and that kid are getting that lead, are getting even more, but that kid is kinda alone defending that zone with the Kraken right there. But that doesn't matter as Hashi is able to paint over the other one, get the zone back, just 10 ticks left, okay! Black Lotus able to get back in there, but again, they need to paint both zones if they want to apply penalty.
It's gonna get very tough here with picks coming out in the favor of Datkid Fan Club, and that zone is gonna be neutralized. But it's just you really gotta find those picks. You really gotta find that space if you are Black Lotus, because this is down to the wire. Able to find the cap in their favor just by a smidge. Able to apply those hefty penalty points onto Datkid Fan Club. Players are going down on each side. It's gonna get pretty tough here, especially because Datkid Fan Club was able to set their foot down, get their ground really quickly right here, which forces them back into an advantage position, which is impressive.
Yep, and Datkid Fan Club still holding control over the zone. Even with penalty applied, they were able to push Black Lotus away. Going into the last minute now, they know that all they need to do is delay the game a little bit more. Black Lotus, though, able to get the splats right now. They're going in, but ooh, Datkid with the Kraken, punishing the push, forcing all of Black Lotus to run away. That's another delay in favor of Datkid Fan Club.
Oh my goodness, yep, another delay and another chance for Black Lotus to try and make their way in, but they do have to find a way to push Datkid Fan Club out of their own space. Miner with an excellent slosh play. I love sloshers that utilize every aspect of the range, but there will be a trade going out on the field as well. There's a lot of splats coming out, if you ask me. We are seeing a lot of back and forth right here. Datkid Fan Club might just jump in control of that zone once more. It's going to be a fight. Black Lotus is also just really trying to get in here.
Yep, Black Lotus know what they need to do now. They need to win every fight, and they already lost a few. What is going to be pretty rough. They need to hold the line as all of Datkid is pushing forward, and with the strikes in the overtime, it's going to be a rough one. The zones are painted big though. Black Lotus able to come out on top and to stay in control for a little bit longer. Datkid is going to need another push.
Oh my goodness, it's going to get really tight here. Zuko's coming out from the side of Mia and trying to find any picks, but that's two down. That can Fan Club. I think that Zuko was able to find two. If Black Lotus can hold this, they might just be looking at a lead top. Kraken coming out from Datkid, just trying to do everything they can to make space for their teammates right here. Trying to find them, just barely find that pick on nothing, but just a few more takes. Black Lotus barely taking the lead by a hair.
What a comeback by Black Lotus. Absolutely locking in right there, making sure that they stay on top of the zone. This looked like Datkid had everything that they have, all the control, but fluffy Black Lotus puts a point on the board with an incredible hold over the zone and a comeback.
Oh my goodness, what a tight game right there. I think Black Lotus's ability to get we saw a lot of back and forth. We saw a lot of Black Lotus trying to push back against Datkid Fan Club. Like, we did see a lot of, back and forth on the zone. And I think it wasn't towards the end where Black Lotus was able to get those two on Datkid Fan Club. Those two were essential to stagger them just enough, just barely enough to hold that zone in their favor. Umami is a bit of a rough map. So there's a lot of neutral, a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of things you can and can't do on this map. And I think, this is a cool conclusion, seeing the score go 1-1.
Yeah, it's really Black Lotus locking in and realizing, oh wait, we're in 20xx, it's like time to lock on. Now we're warmed up, we're coming back. And it's going to change what happens in this next game. Datkid, they felt like they had won there. They really thought they had won. There was so much of points behind for Black Lotus with no time left, and Black Lotus was still losing fights just a few seconds before overtime was happening. It's just that they were able to stay on top of the zone with the fights that mattered. And then Datkid activating the Kraken. The problem with Kraken, it's a great special, but it can't paint. And that Kraken had to go to the side and was not enough for the push.
It's like, while they were able to get a pick, it wasn't enough to space the rest of Black Lotus out. It was like, yeah, it makes it space when used in the proper sense, but while they were, it's still not a wrong option to go for the pick. Unfortunately, it just wasn't enough against Black Lotus at that end point, which is, it's just Black Lotus, you have the chance to come back. Make it happen. And we saw, they have a game under their belt, even though it was very close. I want to see what that next one brings. Oh, yes! Yes! Oh my god! Mako Mart zones! I love Mako Mart zones!
We are going to Mako zones, and Datkid Fan Club, the difference between these two teams, the difference between these two comps, is a bucket versus a tent. This is the bucket map. this is the map where you bring a bucket because there are so many ledges, so many opportunities to throw, to put yourself under the ledge, be a goblin, be a demon, annoy your opponent, and then activate tripling strikes and repaint over the zone. The way the tent will have a lot of trouble to do. That being said, Black Lotus, they know how to use that tent. And they have a blaster as well. They know how to play around this map.
And I wouldn't even be surprised if they actually switch off the tent, unless it's one of those moments where, okay, we think the tent just might be better for the sake of, either mechanical skill or, that's a weapon that they better play with, as you said, because they definitely do know their way around the tent. So I want to see if it's going to stay out, especially because these ledges are going to be in the favor of a lot of different ledge campers. I hope the tent stays.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Anger not play tent, to be honest. I'm pretty sure that's like Anger has in his inventory like Junior and then the tents. That's it.
Hey, whatever gets the job done right here. My only concern with the tent is just that balloon in the center right there that doesn't allow the shield to float as freely, unfortunately. But still powerful weapon, still can do just about anything I need to do.
Yep, and right now we see teams going in, and Datkid Fan Club winning the first fight, taking control over the stacks right now, forcing Black Lotus to prepare the next push and to come back as much as they can. Already 40 points scored by Datkid. They're not wasting a second as the Zukas are flying left and right.
Oh my goodness, yeah, I called too many Trizukas. We are seeing also the triple ink strikes trying to find their way to the zone. Unfortunately, not quite able to, as Datkid Fan Club is now in control once more. They are swiftly, ooh, what a nice pick for the pencil, but they are swiftly ticking down on these points. Oh, if you are Datkid Fan Club, Black Lotus is trying once more to get just as fast. You blinked, and that zone is flipped in Black Lotus's favor. They are opting to get picks at the can. That cooler's in their favor as well. So find those picks and make that space right here and get that hold.
That punish onto the Kraken, and Anger getting more and more with that, and Anger, the 10 pick paying off right there as Black Lotus is holding the line pretty strong. They're going to get the lead off of that. Datkid Fan Club needs to get a good push because now there isn't that much time left on the zone.
Yeah, time is definitely ticking. That lead swap is going to go in the favor of Black Lotus as well. These strikes coming out from them as well, painting the ground yellow. Just Datkid Fan Club is all stuck in this small corner right here, and that blaster is not helping them whatsoever. That Kraken, though, might just be what Datkid Fan Club needs to get in, as all their members drop, and unfortunately getting punished in the process. This punish is on both sides. Black Lotus really just has his pencil to hold this against the blaster and the slasher, and it's it. Insane! Hold 100 to 0.
Hey, the power of a pencil to paint. I mean, the thing is, Datkid Fan Club, they had the players to paint the zone, but these players were the blaster and the slosher. Facing a pencil, it was too late. The pencil only needed to keep painting the zone a tiny bit longer. That was more paint. That was enough to keep the zone the few ticks that mattered. Right there, Black Lotus with that incredible play by Anger to the side, absolutely shredding into Datkid Fan Club's spawn. Right there, 100 to 0, and now after losing game number 1, Black Lotus looked in trouble. Now they look incredibly strong.
Yeah, they're doing pretty good right there. That was a crazy turnaround from Black Lotus. I'm sorry for not being a 10 believer. My fault. I am now a 10 believer. I take it back. Okay, I was always a 10 believer, not on Mako, but now I think I'm a 10 believer on Mako. I can't lie anymore. Anger has changed my mind. That was a really, really great hold from Black Lotus. That was impressive, if anything. That was just get the hold, maneuver your resources to like force them into one spot, and then force that one spot to be even riskier with the blaster coming in, enough to force that kid to bring a Kraken out to make space to make their teammates drop. Like that was like an all according to plan moment.
Yeah, Black Lotus really, exactly, all according to plans. Once they had their positions, once they were where they wanted to be, every pick that they got, they were able to play off of. They were able to get more ground, more paint on around more better positions, and it was going better and better. And that wasn't Datkid's counterpick, but Datkid was expecting to get the best out of this map. it didn't work as well as they thought it would for them. Now they need to pick another map, and now this time they are down 1 game.
We are seeing that tiny bit of a game advantage here. We're going to be more zones. We're never not going to have enough zones. See, I think it makes sense to bring zones out, especially when you have pencil players on your side, because pencils, are extremely efficient on zones. Ramen, especially because we talked about it before. The middle part where the zone is huge for pencils. It can cover basically the entire team, and don't even get me started on the sprinklers you can place on the bull on the top. And, the rest of your teammates can do as they please, traveling the underground passageways. There is opportunity for every weapon to every player. That being said, I think that 10 is also going to have a great time there with that open mid.
Yeah, you'll have lots of ways forward. Datkid fan club, I feel like they have a great weapons to play on there. Both teams have shown us a very efficient, reliable, and comms that are able to adapt to whatever situation is thrown onto them. As you said, you didn't expect the 10 to do that well on Mako. It doesn't matter because Black Lotus are top level players. They're able to adapt to these situations. They know their weapons well enough that they can do whatever they want with it. Now going on to Robo Room, and we'll see how these teams adapt. Now, this time though, it's on Datkid fan club to really change their play to match Black Lotus's fights.
This is going to be incredibly interesting because we're going to be seeing that little bit of a change of mentality. Black Lotus was now able to run out the momentum of what they just did, and that can fact them that has to find the retaliation for it. Especially because, we're playing zones again. We're back in the building. We are playing zones again.
Yep, we get more zones. That's the mode that these top players like to play on. That's the mode that they like to go back to whenever they can, and we see the same comp with the tent attack, the splatter shot for Black Lotus. Meanwhile, on the other side, we see still a splash for more strikes. It's double, tripling strikes on the side of Datkid.
Interesting. I want to talk about the build of the T-Tech though. It looks like more of a fighter build compared to the Splash, where it's more of a strike build, which is very interesting because the T-Tech is still playing to take fights, which I think is really fun right there. As we see them trying to take a fight here, unfortunately going down. That's going to be a quick 3 down on the side of Black Lotus, and unfortunately the blaster getting collapsed on by the rest of them, forcing that stagger. Datkid fan club moving in with that speed. What a crazy opener. Right frame 1.
Yeah, Black Lotus lost that team fight, lost all of that team fight, and right now they're on the back foot trying to get back in, but they're already going forward, not able to apply penalty with the strikes though, as everybody from Datkid is there to paint, but now Fluffy on the zone, thanks to that tent, are able to go in. They're able to apply penalty, but they still have a lot more to do, as everybody from Datkid is getting in and getting the fight. This time, all the fights are going the way of Datkid.
Yep, it's all in their favor here. Seeing that Kraken trying to find the pick. That Penta forced to move out of the way. Datkid is going to be in an interesting position here. Position to the left of Black Lotus's base. But it looks like they're just being staggered here. We are seeing that Penta go down for the side of Black Lotus. This could be, that can be devastating if you're a Black Lotus, because you just lost a massive amount of paint there. And Datkid, once again, in control of the zone, not allowing that bit of neutral to stagger them at all.
Ooh, and Anger right there. Yeah, very nice ambush by Anger, but you need more than an ambush, you need to paint the zone. Okay, that's a job done right there. Black Lotus still in this game, but Datkid with the blaster not able to find the splats. That's going to be a close one. Datkid still able to hold the zone, as all of Black Lotus are back to the drawing board with the strikes, trying to apply penalty again.
Yeah, there is their calling card, but it's just a matter of moving in with them, and unfortunately we didn't quite see that happen. Datkid able to possibly collapse on 2 members of Black Lotus, getting away with their life though. That Kraken of their own is coming out. We are seeing picks left and right on each team. Just right here, not this. Able to find the pick on Datkid. That put the blaster out of commission right here. They just gotta paint, and painting they do right here. Black Lotus has a lot to get through. Harsh able to find picks, unfortunately getting picked off herself. Right there. Like, look at that.
There's a lot coming, and Knives getting in there, getting the splat thanks to that T-Tech. But T-Tech has a bit more fighting oomph than the splash, and it's paying off right there, as Knives is very much going in. That is more hold for Black Lotus. They're not that far from getting the lead, Fufu.
Not that far at all, just a bit of penalty points to tick through right then there, but it looks like half of their members are going to be down in that process. just Nox is trying to hold that as best as they can. Unfortunately, that little bit of pain was enough to turn the tides for Datkid fan club. Nay just trying to find any sort of opening, but unfortunately forced to jump out right there. This is going to be a reset moment for Black Lotus as Datkid fan club is going for the zone once. Whoa, no, but they're still there. They were fighting for it. Never mind.
Ooh, yeah, and the fight is not done. More strikes going onto the zone. Activating the Kraken, able to find one, but not able to find two with a counter Kraken from Noctis, punishing the push right there. It's 2 down on to Datkid fan club as Fluffy Black Lotus is eager to hold the zone a little bit longer, and we've had so much back and forth, Fufu. There isn't that much penalty left for them.
Oh my goodness, not much penalty at all here. Just those penalty points are out of the way. The strikes on the side of Datkid fan club are coming out, but it looks like Black Lotus is going to bring out their own strike to try and just hold it just for a few more ticks, and it takes a lot to get to that lead. Datkid fan club moving with the force as well, being able to take 2 members of Black Lotus down. There is retaliation happening, but it's not going to be enough right here. Oh, that's it!
Ango getting 2 right there, surviving thanks to the tension, getting a 3rd, simply pushing in. What moves by Ango, getting so much and allowing Black Lotus to hold the zone a tiny bit longer. Datkid fan club able to come back, able to repaint the zone, but now they have 30 seconds to get the lead back. That's not much time, Fufu.
But it is definitely enough time right here. Remember, once these penalty points are done, they are pretty much smooth sailing if they're able to hold it just for a few more seconds. So Black Lotus really just has to find a way to keep the zone in their favor as long as they can and just keep their numbers high, prevent themselves from staggering, because anything too crazy here, you know, is enough to bring them to their doom. This is going to get incredibly rough because that kid just is taking members down and has that advantage in their favor. So they got to find an answer and make it soon. Wait. Ooh, Bro's playing Whimsical. Wait, this might... Wait,
why is so close? The strikes! The strikes were just too late! They were just too late! And activating the strikes, they were not paid. You can't paint while you are activating and throwing the strikes. They needed to paint there. They didn't have the time to flip the zone. That was so close.
Oh my goodness. I've seen the player anger on the screen. That was amazing. I gotta point that out for a second, but oh my goodness. No, just by a hair. Had, you know, Black Lotus had like maybe an extra second. No, or just a few more ticks on the board. That game could have very well been theirs with those strikes, but it just wasn't enough. That was like very ridiculously close. That was too close, if anything, right there. The score is now even for these teams, and honestly, the chance for a game 7 is there. I'm just saying.
It is very close indeed. These teams are trading punches, trading games. We're now going into game number 5. Black Lotus will have the next counter pick. And honestly, yeah, it's so entertaining. These two teams are not stopping. We see pop-offs after pop-off, and I can't wait to see what Anger does next with that tent.
No, absolutely. I feel like that was like a miracle in on itself. Just Anger coming and grabbing those 2. Bro was like, oh wait, I got mechanics. We got this. We're good. Taking 1, taking 2, moving into put pressure. I don't remember if they took a 3rd there. But that pressure was ridiculous. It was enough to let their teammates come back in. They locked in. They leaned forward in their chair for a second. The game reposed right then there.
Yeah, and the rest of Black Lotus was ready to follow through. It's just that in the end, Datkid fan club, they had more paint. They had 2 tripling strikes. They were constantly able to go back onto the zone, and Black Lotus needed short of a pop-off. Black Lotus was behind because Datkid had more paint, so that forced Black Lotus to get more splats. And Black Lotus delivered as much as they could, but in the end, it was the paint that won the zone's game.
Absolutely. It was just by a smidge, really. Just anything extra to... Wait. Yeah, no, it's maps. I was like, wait, pause. We are going back to zones once more. We're stuck in zones, bro. I'm not complaining. I can't complain. I love Haggle zones. It is, well, I think Haggle zones bias might just be a backline moment, if I'm being honest. There are those little side paths that we can paint, but that middle is going to be war. I'm not going to be surprised if we see 30 seconds of painting the zone again, especially as we saw at the end of the last match. Like, it's not out of the question. We might just see it.
Yeah, and I feel like that map is very good for Black Lotus. No wonder that they picked it, because the tent is the one weapon that allows you to walk through the zone without a special. Otherwise, usually you need to wait for their specials before you can go through that zone. The tent doesn't have to wait, can simply activate the tent and go in and deal damage. That's going to be the extra edge that Black Lotus needs right there. I expect Datkid to bring back the double strikes, though these strikes will be thrown onto that tent.
So you said the 10 just goes, and my first thought was go, my scarab. It's just a go. Please, that reference, that meme will never not be funny to me. But we are still seeing that 10, those blasters come out. We are not seeing a lot of changes here.
Yeah, and both teams are bringing a vanilla splatter shot for the Bazookas. Again, you can throw the Bazookas above the zones, which is pretty nice. You can get 3 picks from that.
Just to, give them a little bit of an airstrike of a Zuka, and off it goes. Speaking of Zukas, we are seeing Zukas, I think, on both sides, basically. It looks like Black Lotus is going to be going 2 down right there. Datkid Fan Club with an iconic opening that we've been seeing. They are pretty much always the first ones to get control of that zone against Black Lotus.
Yeah, very nice, well-coordinated opening that they're able to show, but Black Lotus always able to come back in some way. Datkid activating the Kraken, going onto the tent and getting a double right there. Keeping Datkid Fan Club in control of the zones. It's just Archie to paint the zone and get the super jumps, but everybody is going to get back in there. Datkid Fan Club holding the zone incredibly strong as Black Lotus is desperately painting, trying to apply penalty, trying to get back into this game. This was supposed to be their game. Anger pushing in with the tent, trying to get in, but Black Lotus applying penalty, but they pay the price for it. Datkid Fan Club keeps control of the map.
Yeah, if you're a Black Lotus here, this is not where you want to scatter, especially when things get tough. Zuka's coming out on the field, taking picks. It looks like Black Lotus is going to get another attempt to try and bring themselves this zone. They have to coordinate together. They really have to be together here. They cannot scatter as they did before, because it is detrimental if they do. There's Anger taking already one of the picks. Unfortunately, with their shield going down, and it's fair because they're getting picks anyways. This is what Black Lotus needed. They moved in as one big wave. That is a coordination they needed.
Yeah. It's Black Lotus's ability to take the fights and get the splats that is working for them. But here comes the Kraken from Datkid. We've seen that Kraken be so dangerous here. But as I say, that 2 down on the side of Datkid Fan Club, Black Lotus are going to keep more and more control. And look at that. Once they are in control of this map, they are not letting that control go. Wazabo with a pencil simply dominating the whole map. Nobody from Datkid able to really paint right there. That's going to be a lead flip, and Datkid Fan Club still struggling to get in.
And those strikes are coming out to try and paint the zone here. It looks like we're going to be seeing another paint war here in the center here. I love this 10 position right here. Just that shield is huge. It's so huge. It's just like that. Black Lotus taking the next game.
That's the power of a tent. You can walk through the zone and get away with it. That was the final blow, but honestly, Black Lotus, incredible coordination in their fights, really able to play together perfectly to get that game number 5. They are now 1 game away from winning this set, 1 game away from the playoffs, and very well. Whew.
That was very tough because you saw Black Lotus lose their coordination there for the first half of the game. Datkid Fan Club was consistently staggering them, and they took a second, they took a breath and just said, okay, we got this, and they moved as one big wave, and that's what I was waiting to see from them. They have a tent they can move with. They have every resource to move as a huge wave, and once they started doing that, gathering the resources, moving together, we saw what happened. That was all the way down to that knockout. They didn't let that kid have a chance. They became an wall. Datkid Fan Club, don't get me wrong, they did an amazing job during that opening. They were able to find that opportunity and stagger them, because that's what they do. They open like mad lads. But Black Lotus just moving as that one huge wave at the end.
Yeah, so as you said, Datkid Fan Club were constantly playing to the side of Black Lotus, forcing them to look to the left, look to the right, look behind their shoulder, look everywhere. And once Black Lotus were able to finally push Datkid Fan Club away, to finally establish themselves. Now they knew where Datkid fan club was coming from Spawn, and from then on, they had the control over the game. It was much easier for Black Lotus, and once they have their pace, once they have their momentum, Black Lotus are so hard to stop. I mean, again, they had the zone, they kept the zone, and they won the video game.
Yeah, once they lock in, they really just use their resources so well around. Their specials are chained. Their resources are chained. You'll see that blaster move with the 10. It's just like, oh, we're here. Oh, we're there. It's all good. So I'm excited. I'm curious to see what our next picks are going to be. I'm not going to be surprised if we continue on the zones that we have been already. I mean, zones has seemed to be a pretty favorable map for both of these teams, especially we can see just how tight it's been. You know, yep. we have our zones lovers in this house. Whoa! Tower!
Never mind, we're going to tower control. We are kind of running out of zones, so that explains why.
You know, yeah, I would argue that we just used up our 3 best zones maps, if in my opinion at least. What other zones games do we have? I don't even think we have more zones maps to play. I think no, we have.
We do.
Okay,
yes,
yeah,
we do. Let me.
We do. We see Barnacle and Mahi. I mean, I can't complain about Barnacle and Mahi. I kind of like.
Yeah,
that's just me.
Exactly.
That's just me. I do that. That's kind of backline shenanigans. But a tower control Inkwad, Pat. I love that map. I love that map mode. I don't know about you, but I like that map mode a lot.
We all do, Fufu, and we've loved that map mode for a long time. It's been a classic, and it works so well. It's very much a reminder of what is good about tower control. Really going in, taking control of ahead of the checkpoint, then going ahead of the next checkpoint, then going deep into enemy territory, trying to maintain some security around your tower, and the person that has to ride it. We're going to see the same comp, I feel like, that we've seen this whole set, with one big thing to note though. This is the final counter pick that Datkid Fan Club will do today. They need to win this one just to get to the game 7, and you've been praying for it, Fufu. I want to see it as well. We want to see a game 7, so Datkid Fan Club, it's time to lock on and win this game, please.
And just like, but at the same time, I can't help but root for Black Lotus, especially with a little bit of 10 gaming. This is going to be a very fun here. We're either going to be seeing those middle saws, or we're going to be seeing those quick snowballs. So I want to see which direction this is gonna go in right here. And whether we're going to continue to see the same pattern of Datkid Fan Club having that strong opening.
Yeah, well, right now both teams are kind of waiting for the opportunity. Dropping into mid is always a risk. Bino is kind of alone in there. He's going to meet Knives, who's already jumping away with the tactical. Right now, a trade between the blaster is going to maintain neutral around the map. As I say that, Black Lotus able to win and go forward with the tower.
Oh my goodness, yeah, we are seeing some insane momentum here from Black Lotus, quickly moving themselves in here. Anger, unfortunately, going down. It's going to be 3 down on the side of Black Lotus. That pencil is forced to jump way out. They do have cooler in their possession here, so they're going to be giving some cooler down, giving a little bit of drinks to their teammates as they make their way out. It's going to be huge here for this defense. You know, it's better to do your defense with cooler than without, because you can definitely take a lot more risks here. But actually, both of these teams are coolered up. They have minimal risk to take right here, but we can't be... Oh, this is going to be rough.
Yep, and right now Datkid Fan Club are going to take the checkpoint themselves. We're within the same checkpoints as Datkid Fan Club takes the lead, but they don't have enough players to keep pushing right now. Oh, very nice punish against Anger right there, but Black Lotus will be able to let the tower reset back into mid, as both teams are kind of licking their wounds and preparing the next push.
Yeah, we've seen Names absolutely throwing hands with their shot in their hands, absolutely wasting no time. We are seeing this tower move ahead, and I like how we are starting to slowly see the members of Black Lotus move their way ahead of tower. That lead swap is going to be really quick right there. Oh, we are seeing picks left and right here. It's just a matter of keeping yourselves alive with the last member on the tower. It's only the... Nope, there's 2 left. Not this, you crazy guy! No, jumping in, unfortunately getting punished here. Oh, yep. Goodness.
And that's no checkpoint broken by Fluffy Black Lotus. They get the lead, but he want to get the checkpoint break if you want to win this game, as Datkid Fan Club now are preparing their next push. They're already 2 down on to Black Lotus. Make that 3. All of Datkid are going forward, going in, trying to get the picks right there, and they get the trades in. They have Cooler, they're happy with it. They're on that checkpoint, looking to keep it active. They get the lead, and they get past the checkpoint right there.
And they are going to continue to move this tower forward. Zuka in their possession. Strikes are coming out to move the members of Datkid Fan Club off that tower just to stall just for a second, prevent them to get any more points here. But with the strikes coming out from Datkid Fan Club to add even more pressure, and they're at that final checkpoint. This could be a knockout here for Datkid Fan Club if Black Lotus can't get that tower back in their hands.
Hey, you respond faster. You respond faster. It's fine.
It was
exactly. And right now, Black Lotus, they have a huge comeback to make. They're 2 checkpoints behind. They need a big push with less than 2 minutes left in the game. But they're already in control of mid with Noctis under that platform, trying to maintain pressure. But the tent is already down. Datkid Fan Club defending as well as they can. It's a 2v2 as Black Lotus is kinda in trouble in their push right there. Ooh.
Yeah, it's going to get very dicey very quickly here. 2 members of Black Lotus down already. Datkid Fan Club quickly able to retrieve that tower for themselves once more. And again, we have a minute left here. Anything can happen, but Datkid Fan Club has every opportunity to play this as solid, play this as slow as they need to secure their win. This is where you really want to have that solid wall of defense if you are Datkid, because any opportunity to let Black Lotus in could be detrimental.
Yep, and right now it looks like Black Lotus is winning the fight. Going into that last minute, they have 1 more push, but I spoke a little bit too soon. Datkid able to respawn and to punish their way in. It's pretty rough. Anger is completely isolated with that and will not be able to stay on the map, and Datkid is going in with that blaster now.
Oh my goodness, yeah, Datkid has been insane on the blaster right here, and it looks like Datkid Fan Club has been able to have a really subtle hold of center, and it looks like they're going to be opting to move this tower a little bit more into the base of Black Lotus, especially if they get, taken down here. They have to move all the way to the other side of the map one way or another, so why not make the job a little bit more risky if you are Datkid? Honestly, hello?
Yeah, you... Pay attention, but here comes the strikes. Everybody is striking the tower right there, and Datkid throwing a player at it during their strike to steal the game. Fufu. Fufu.
Game 7! Game 7!
Let's
We
go!
called it from the start. We wanted the Game 7. We got the Game 7. Let's go!
We have exactly what we want. And after these 2 teams going through qualifiers, going through the groups, going through this set, their spot in the playoffs will be decided by a single game. But Black Lotus gets to decide the map and mode.
Yes. It's like we've exhausted pretty much almost all of our options though, so their options are probably not going to be their first pick from what we're seeing as well. So, Pat, this is the decider. This is the decider who's going to be going to playoffs out of these 2 teams.
Yep.
These 2 teams are going to, this is going to be rough. This is going to be, I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up in a catfight type game here. It could like
Hey.
We gambled here, so we got to see where this goes.
Everything is on the line right now. These 2 teams need to bring their A game. This is their final shot. It is do or die for both of these teams, and now all the pressure is on Black Lotus to choose the next map mode, to decide where we're going to go. And as you say, the counter picking advantage is not that big at the end of the set, because we've been through so many maps. We cannot go back to the maps we've played. We've seen a lot of maps go already. Now they won't be all the things that they love. We'll see what they bring on as their final pick, as this final map of today for them.
Oh, I'm on the edge of my seat, Pat. I'm on the edge of my seat. I want to see how this ends. I think we all want to see just how this ends here. Whether the team's going to be running off the momentum, off the adrenaline, or may just be who's running out of the adrenaline. Well, these teams they probably got stamina. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. This is a game 7 or whatever. They'll be fine. I think it's just interesting because they get to put everything they've learned throughout the last 6 matches and put it all the way down to the final game, down to the wire, and where it counts the most. This is a spot where you don't want to enter a map where, oh, we're gonna see it, we're gonna see it, we're gonna, Mahi, let's go! I love Mahi. I don't, I do and don't.
We all have a game that went incredibly well and we love Mahi, and a game that went incredibly bad and we hate Mahi. Because there's so many different things that can happen on this map, and every weapon has something to do. This is the kind of map that allows for so many different things to happen. And Fufu, I see you've brought your emotional support child to help you in this final game.
I had to bring Denji out because I think I'm going to flip out otherwise. So I have to bring my little buddy. My little buddy, say hi to Denji. No, yeah, it's like... no, yeah, definitely. We either have great experiences on Mahi or absolutely terrible experience on Mahi. And we're going to see which team is going to be on the receiving or, not receiving end of that. So, I'm on the edge of my seat, Pat!
Yep, well, it's all going to be decided here and there. A bit difference between these teams. Knives is bringing back the T-Tech, whereas Nila is bringing the vanilla shot for more Azukas. We'll see both teams having Azuka because of that, and here comes with the first fight. We'll see if Datkid is able to repeat their big first fight energy.
Indeed, right here. It looks like, yeah, they are bringing that energy down to the field, being the first ones to grab that zone here in favor. But it's going to be 1-for-1 on each side. It's just depending on which team is going to be going down their second member. Those strikes coming out from Black Lotus here and make some space right here. Naka's trying to find some. Oh, no, but that chip damage definitely helped their other teammate do so right here. It is going to be a scrap right now. Pencils are scrapping. The girls are fighting. I don't know. I love that meme. Don't even get me started. The girls are fighting.
And right now Black Lotus trying to hold the zone, but here comes the Kraken, the strikes, everything is thrown at the zone by Datkid fan club, who are pushing their way in. They use all of their resources to get that, and now Anger is activating, Bazooka is pushing back there. Black Lotus holding pretty strong right there, getting back the zone.
Oh my goodness, this is gonna get really tough really quickly. Oh my goodness, just a 5%. No, that's gonna be 2 down on Datkid, though. That is Black Lotus' opportunity to get that zone in their favor, make as much space as they can right here. Quickly, though, Datkid's members are returning to the field, just trying to prevent any sort of pressure loss as they can. Minimize those damages because anything can be detrimental here. The water level drops, the map is playable. We got more space to work with, baby!
Yeah, and Datkid has to be happy about that water drop because they really need a change of pace right now. Black Lotus has been holding so strong, winning the fight. Here comes the Kraken by Datkid. Not able, oh yes, able to find the pick onto Anger. As Datkid fan club still struggling to paint the zone, they're able to apply penalty, keeping themselves alive here in 20xx. But leave lots of players down right now. Whoever is able to respawn, whoever is able to come back onto the zone could decide who will hold the map, and it looks like Black Lotus are back in there with another 10. They are holding the zone strong.
Oh my goodness, holding it indeed. It's going to get incredibly tough because it looks like Datkid wants a piece of the action, trying to make their way into zone. Strike coming out from Black Lotus to prevent them from doing so. We're seeing Harsey just trying to paint as much as they can, just trying to get everything real. Wait, I thought we were going to get behind the 10. They did. Oh my goodness, Datkid fan club is very close to capping the zone. The Kraken coming out to make more space, just try and find it. Datkid able to find the zone in their favor. Black Lotus had a pretty nice push though.
Yeah, but Black Lotus just lost 2 players. This is Datkid finally being in control, finally having the ground that they want to have, and with no penalty, Black Lotus will need to get another push. We have 2 minutes left in this game, though, and much more will happen. It's never over.
Never over. We are seeing both sets of strikes make their way onto the field, but it looks like Datkid fan club's strikes were actually able to paint more of the field, but it's going to look like that elite swap in the favor of Datkid fan club, and we are seeing those scraps. We are seeing these fights happen here on the field. It is just, oh my goodness, Datkid fan club just really just has to hold this right now. Black Lotus gonna want once again in here, but Anger, of course, are getting punished right then. They're losing your tent is devastating at this moment.
Yep, right now Black Lotus is struggling to get in, and Datkid fan club, done with their penalty pretty much, are still with numbers advantage, with specials almost ready to come. It's going to be a rough one. Black Lotus has one final push to go forward. They need to make it work. Here comes the strikes into the zones. Here comes everybody from Black Lotus. Will they be able to paint, or will Datkid take this set? Here comes the strikes for fan club. Are they able to hold through? Oh!
He runs into the teeth. This might just be it. Pat, I think. Wait, what's happening?
Anger getting in. Anger saving it. Black Lotus is alive. 45 seconds left. They have the time to come back. All they need to do is hold now. Hold as much as they can. They get the splat onto the blaster. Nila gets punished in the Zuka. It's just a trade right there. Black Lotus has no penalty, and with 30 seconds left, are looking to get the comeback.
I'm getting nauseous, Pat. All the strikes on the field coming out, just trying to fight for this. Right now, Black Lotus still in control. Datkid is throwing everything toward them. They're able to fight. Able to get a pick on their painter. That's gonna be the second one down. Onto Black Lotus. Wait. Oh my God, Kraken. Wait. Oh my God, wait.
The Kraken is activated. That's the lead for Black Lotus. No paint. Black Lotus gets this set. What an incredible comeback. What a set these two teams have given us.
Black Lotus, you guys are insane. Just when the odds were against them, able to get the win by a hair. Had they just not had it for a second longer, that could have very well gone in the favor of Datkid. The save, the 10 coming in on the field to just prevent. Right here. Anger coming in to provide so much more, and then getting the second 2 picks onto Datkid fan club. Oh my God, I'm yelling. I feel like I'm like disturbing my neighbors at this point. Oh my goodness. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, and the shield of the 10 being thrown was painting the zone while Anger was getting the splats. It was such a perfect move by Anger right there, saving the game, reverting the momentum, putting Black Lotus back on the map. What an incredible play. That play is going to allow Black Lotus to get themselves through this group stage and qualify for the playoffs.
I am not okay after this set. My voice just broke. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I am flipping out still, Pat. I'm like in shock. That was ridiculous. Just when you think this set is in the favor of Datkid fan club, Black Lotus just locked in. They said, hold on. We have some last ditch effort we have to use. Hold on. Bro, congrats to Black Lotus. Y'all are moving on. Y'all did amazing. Datkid fan club, I'm not going to exclude you guys because you guys did a mad job. Y'all brought this as well to Game 7 with Black Lotus, gave us an incredible show, and you guys had an incredible run. Yeah. I hope to see more of y'all.
And if you want to pay Black Lotus for what they just did, if you want to reward them, you can still contribute for our prize pool. Remember, the next time will be the playoffs. Take a look at our prize pool. You want these players to be rewarded because they've put on so much work to be here, so much work to keep playing, to keep winning. We are organizing these tournaments thanks to you with your help, and thank you for helping us keep doing that. But yeah, if you want to help Black Lotus and Grugu, who just qualified, hit that prize pool.
The prize pool is always appreciated. And again, the link is right down here under our webcam. Down here, just you want to press it so bad. If you guys want to contribute, there we go. You see it flashing. The prize pool link is right down there. Also, Pat, I think you owe me some gambling money.
Yeah, well, have it. I know you spent your life savings. I'd feel bad if I didn't say.
I know, you're rich or whatever, and you had pocket money. Oh my goodness. I should have put my whole life savings at this point. Oh my goodness.
Don't bet your life savings on a game again. Reminder: Dapper Productions does not approve of gambling all your life savings.
I do though. No, I don't. Please don't gamble your life savings on games. It worked for me today.
It worked for you. And speaking of you, Fufu, it's time for us to say goodbye, to leave two other incredible commentators on the microphone. But before we do so, where can I find you on the internet?
You guys can find me at @SplatFufu on Twitter, or alternatively, you do see my main accounts right there. You can use that to follow through and find my actual Splatoon account. SplatFufu, I do art, I do commentary, as you see, and a little backline shenanigans. So if you would like to see more of me, I am there. Please do find me. And Pat, where can the amazing people find you tonight?
You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at PatJOton. It's written on your screen right there. You can also find me on Blue Sky if you remove the underscores. And yeah, give me a follow. And thank you.
Indeed. So that is the end of us here. There was an amazing time on the mic with you here, Pat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, love being on the mic with you as always. And thank you especially to Dapper Productions for having us with Brownie. On the camera work, wonderful work, Brownie, with the camera. We love you. Yes.
We love Brownie in this household.
Yeah, but we're gonna take a break, and when we're back, we'll see the final games of groups here in 20XX.
You guys have amazing commentators waiting.
Welcome, everybody. We have reached the final match of the final week to make the top 4 in the 20XX League. It is Groups Week 3, the final game. The Hino Fan Club taking on Moonlight. This is a match that I have had marked on my calendar for some time. 2 teams of approximately the same skill level, but very different takes on the game. My name is Nine Whole Grains, and Popgun, after years of, skillfully avoiding one another here in the booth, as of late, we have been talking quite a bit about this game of Splatoon. How are you today, my friend?
That's not true, actually. We once commentated a set where I almost died on camera. So
yes,
I'm back from the grave, much to the dismay of Brush. But I am here, and so is Moonlight in Hino Fan Club. I, in the private commentator chat, said that this game was a coin flip. And I still stand by that, even though most of the commentators like myself picked Hino Fan Club to win this one. But yes, this should be a exciting match, maybe even more exciting than that snooze fest of a match that we just saw leading up to this one. So far, it's been a bad day for fan clubs in general. Hino Fan Club looking to undo that and bring home a win for fan clubs around the world.
Well, they'll have a really interesting path to get there, too, because this is sort of a tale of 2 teams in terms of how they got here in their first 2 weeks. One team, Moonlight, 4 wins on Clam Blitz. They only won 6 games, Popgun. 4 of them being on Clam Blitz is pretty stifling. And on the other side, Hino Fan Club, of their 5 wins that they got to this point, 4 of them were on Splat Zones. So, that'll be the interesting back and forth here. We know the counter pick system at this point gives teams to sort of choose their own adventure path to get up there. And it appears that somehow we have started on maybe the most dominant map mode for Moonlight here. They beat Gru. They have fought their way through basically anyone who's dared to take them to Clam Blitz Scorch. But I don't know, what do you think the angle is here for this fan club squad?
Well, when you talk about Moonlight, I think you hit it on the head. That's been their MO for such a long time. Even back when crack and cheese was a thing. They weren't the team that invented it, but they're the team that really highlighted just how broken it could be. But even when Nintendo fixed that, they've still been very dominant using it. Going even back to Low Tide City, when they beat Starburst, it was largely due to what they did on Clam Blitz Umami, which will probably be showing up later on this set if Hino can get some wins as well. For Hino Fan Club, though, the comp you're going to see in this Game 1, you might buckle up because you're not really going to see a whole lot of changes coming out from it. Synops has been so good on Gal over the course of their entire competitive Splatoon career, and Lin might be the best blaster player this side of the Atlantic Ocean. Or I should say this side of the Pacific Ocean. Let's just throw that in there as well.
Either one.
Which means you got 2 weapons that aren't splatter shot and pencil. So somebody has to use those 2 weapons. Lexi, you pick up the pencil. Hino, this is your fan club. You get to use one of the most basic weapons in the game. I will say, though, there is a chance, a couple of games in week 1 where we did see Hino drop the splatter shot in favor of a Neo Splash so that they could ink strike their opponent into oblivion. You might see that in some Splat Zone games coming up. But that's really the only changes you're going to see from their comp. What you see is what you're going to get. For Moonlight, though, they've been reworking what they do, not just within this league, but who they traditionally have been. I think they've just kind of unfortunately set into this, we got to use pencil, so we're going to use pencil. That means we're going to drop tint. Shadow, you just pick up the splatter shot. Let's roll with that. Nolan's been changing around a bunch of things, though. We haven't been seeing just that 96 deco. We've been seeing Squeezer be worked in a lot. Last week, we even saw Kraken, the custom range being worked in there. And, of course, Omega finding any kind of sword weapon they can use just to bash their opponent in the head. So Moonlight's kind of reinvented themselves. Hino Fan Club, pretty much bread and butter.
And it's interesting how the 2 of them have tried to fill out the sort of meta idea that everyone is running these days, where you have your pencil, you have your support shooter is what I'm going to tentatively call that cleans things up and provides specials, and then your dive weapon that goes in to take engagements, and then your kill/splat weapon that actually goes in and gets the job done when everyone's taken 50 damage. They get there in such radically different ways, particularly as you kind of noted how Moonlight is sort of found a way with Shadow being a little bit more up and at you with the shooter as opposed to what we'll see from Henlo on the splatter shot. But that's going to be the real change between these two teams. And I do believe that the teams are getting set right now. So Popgun, we're not actually going to have to stall a whole lot longer. We did both pick Henlo Fan Club to win this. But again, I will note, it's very rare that you get to see two teams that are so diametrically opposed in what their skill sets are running into each other at this level. Usually you're going to see a lot of the same.
Game 1 coming up here, Clam Blitz at Scorched Gorge, a map and mode that Moonlight is more than thrilled to be playing on at the very beginning. And there is Lynn coming out with the blaster. I thought for a second it was the range, but nope, it is the Bubbler one that they've been so skilled at before. A lot of players have dropped that in favor of a range blaster, even the vanilla range with Wavebreaker still kind of getting a lot of use here, but Lynn's been using that vanilla one for such a long time, and Bubbler getting so many buffs as of late has really paid off for Lynn.
Well, speaking of bubblers, the team's kind of jockey for position here at the start. Omega over on the mid-decavitator here, which has been, maybe the most interesting wrinkle in this metagame that we have seen. For a while, we've wondered when another bubble weapon was going to come up here, and we also have been wondering exactly how strong that decavitator could theoretically be. Omega has really given Moonlight a lot of staying power in some of these other modes that maybe they have struggled on in the past. It's given them a really nice dynamic. Nolan, of course, taking the dive there with the Kraken. Nobody else left to join the party, and it should be Henlo Fan Club who has the first say.
A little bit of a miscue using that Kraken right there. I think just the timing for the rest of their team was a little bit off. They didn't have somebody with a power clam, everyone getting beat up in mid, and then you just got a Kraken on your own base, and it's just like, what do we do here? And you get splatted, and you get a nice push coming out from Henlo Fan Club. Moonlight's going to clean it up right now, though. A minute 15 already gone, and some decent scores put up on the board by Henlo Fan Club. However, Moonlight starting to push up. They have that bubbler to work with as well. They're firing off some Zukas maybe a little bit early just to make sure Henlo Fan Club can't get too forward up into mid. But now we see Synops able to shark around and start cleaning up in mid.
Yeah, and they had already taken Basil out up at the top here, so Omega's going to try to stall for as much time as possible and be a nuisance, and that time has run out here. Now Synapse moved up here, again, in a pretty good spot, and of course finds the two up at the top there, so that basket is open. Let's see how far they opt to dive in, how many points they want to try to take here. With Len going down here, I imagine, yeah, Henlo is just going to back right on up there and let Lexi join. Why not? Just make it kind of easy, mitigate some of the damage that your opponent can do. You got a couple points off your penalty here, but not wanting to make the big mistake. That's where Moonlight has really punished teams when they aren't familiar with how the claims spawn.
If you were to leave this stream and go to IPL right now and watch Low Inc., the difference is you would have seen Henlo charge forward, try to throw in a few more clams, and try to get as many points as possible. The problem with that is Moonlight would have punished it, and they would have completely taken the lead by now. Instead, backing off, making sure they hold control of mid. That slows down this counter push from Moonlight, and actually there might not be a counter push going at her. Actually, no, excuse me, a pencil player has been eliminated. That is breaking news, and that is huge for Moonlight, because now Basil has an opportunity to start pushing up. You see them in control of that tower, providing jumps for their teammates, and that Zuka is going to chase them away for a little bit. But as Basil starts to push up with the rest of their team, Moonlight can get themselves in a position to put down that bubbler and make something happen.
Yeah, and finally, it's going to be a slight overextension there by Len that's going to give them that opportunity. Synapse goes all the way around, and Shadow having none of the tricks there. Almost dropped right at Shadow. Surely we get a basket open, and we do this time. Now, how far does Shadow opt to go in? One away from getting another power clam there. Would love to dive in with that as opposed to 7 regular clams, and instead we're going to see much the same that we saw from Henlo, backing right on up. Build it up, and Synapse returning the favor, Popgun, catching them around the backside.
I think they knew exactly where they were going to go, and Synops going to the same exact spot that they did before getting punished. Running away from the Kraken last time, no Kraken to hunt them down this time around, and doing a good job of taking care of Shadow right there. A minute 15 left to go. Both teams have popped the basket, I believe, once. Actually, no, Henlo's popped it twice, but they didn't really get a lot of value out of that second push here. But now they're knocking on the door to get a third one. And excuse me, Omega from the skies slicing people in half with the toothbrush.
I mean, that may have just saved them right there. They were, what, 2.5 down, we'll call it at that point there, and you had the right person moving through, but it appears that one more did sneak through in Henlo, so Omega's heroics are going to go the way of the Dodo. Now, Henlo trying to go and add to the stat sheet as well, will get taken down there, but that's going to make everyone lose track of where the other members are. Synapse happily jumping out from the Shark, gets the wall down, takes another. 30 seconds left. They are in a fantastic position to defend.
Yeah, they have some control of mid, or at least their side of mid. There's no real spot for Basil to start pushing up, although they are trying to work around that right side to help out the rest of their teammates. But this is Moonlight we're talking about. This is where they actually start playing Clan Blitz in the last couple of seconds of every game. They do have a Kraken ready to go. They're firing off that Kraken right now. That is going to clear the space, but all the jumps are going to come in, but everybody's right there waiting for them. They don't even pop the basket on top of that. Omega still saves the power claim, so we will go to overtime, but they're not going to have a lot of resources left to work with right here. Omega's just trying to hold forward their way through that. Blend's going to put down a bubbler to slow them down and get the nice splat, and everybody has to dive bomb onto this one final power clam just to keep things going a little bit longer. I don't think there's a path to victory anywhere here. The answer is no. Hinlow Fan Club going to Moonlight's home field and taking game one pretty much dominantly.
Yeah, right at the end, you said, all right, now's where they're going to actually start playing Clam Blitz, and they were saving up, if you're going to count the pity clams sitting under the basket, 4 power clams, Pop Gun, that they were going to try to put in, at least 3 in one jump you'd wager. They would have needed all of them to take the lead back, so, I get the idea, but just so difficult to make up a big lead in a mode like that, especially when the opponent can see where every clam carrier is. So not too bad there, and hey, this was the exact dichotomy that we set up here in the beginning talkings of this, where kind of made the wonderfully erudite point of, hey, Moonlight really good at Clam Blitz. That's how they win most of their games. You lose that. Now we're in the counterpick, the back and forth. You know how counterpick systems work when one team wins game one. I would have to imagine that Moonlight takes this back now to a Clam Blitz here. Don't overthink it, but I'm very impressed with what I saw from Henlo Fan Club. No tricks, none of the stuff that Moonlight usually gets away with, just very solid play.
Moonlight, even without Kraken Cheese, lives and dies by the Kraken, especially in Clam Blitz. How you counter that? Destroy everybody else. Make them use the Kraken defensively instead of offensively. Yeah, you saw on the very first push Moonlight attempted. Nolan was able to use the Kraken, get into position. Well, they just jumped around it and splatted everybody else. The one time Moonlight was able to pop the basket was when that Kraken did chase everybody out of position and clear the path open. But they just weren't getting the values out of those Krakens that they typically do. And that's credit to Hinlow Fan Club for jumping onto everybody else. You can't destroy the Kraken, just let it be. Let's take care of the things we can control.
Especially if you know where that Kraken is probably going to end up. And that's kind of the other dynamic here in this type of mode, or really any mode where you know generally where it's going to end up. I think in splat zones, when the Kraken is working its way around there, it may end up in a spot that you weren't ready to punish. But if you know they're going under your basket, I mean, let's be real, your pencil player's probably been watching the Kraken the entire time. They get lagged out, 2 shots, boom, we're back at it. Let's continue playing the game. So well played there, and I'll be interested in seeing again where this counter pick goes to. I know the teams are probably jumping right back into it, but we do have now splat zones on Mahi Mahi in that snooze fest of a set that you mentioned earlier, Pop Gun. Exactly. This one had to have been the most boring of all of the games too, and that's as facetious as I can be for one set.
And interestingly enough, where we saw Tent last set, we are likely not to see Tent this time around, even though Moonlight traditionally in the past has done it. You brought up pencils, though. What an odd thing to bring up. I do have a unfortunate stat, though, I would like to share with everyone.
Okay.
That last game was the 100th opportunity for teams to bring weapons into games in 20XX. So that was the 50th game played. Of those 50 games, i.e. 100 opportunities for 2 teams to pick weapons, Blue Pencil was not selected in only 2 of those games. One, a team used red pencil instead of blue. The other one was earlier today, where I'm pretty sure Gru was just, you know what, we're up 3-0. Let's bring Well Stringer in for the fun of it. So, and on a map like Mahi Mahi, I think we're going to get another even 100 out of 102 opportunities with that thing.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of gambling going on in chat. In our commentator chat, I saw somebody had put in their house, maybe a mortgage being wagered on this as well. Gambling is good, kids. Never forget it. But I think that you are the safe money. The house always wins. And in this case, the house tends to be the blue pencil. But I will say it's been kind of nice to see, as things have solidified and everyone has sort of resigned themselves to playing blue pencil, how quickly people have gotten really good at playing that as well, developing those 2 or 3 spots that they continually rotate to with the pencil. Because I think it's so important that you sense when the push is starting to come against you. You rotate ahead of time, put a couple shots on maybe one person who's pushing ahead to try to blaze a path and keep your cooler cycle going. So I will say, as tiring as it can be to only see the Snipe Rider 5H be picked, I do enjoy seeing really good Snipe Rider play, and we'll see which of the Snipe Riders gets the best on this one.
By the way, Basil does have the E-Leader icon on their banner, but no E-Leader to be shown of as of yet. No changes coming out from the side of Hino Fan Club. No changes either from Moonlight. They're sticking with the toothbrush, keeping the 96 deco as well. Squeezer could have been an opportunity, but this map is just so flat, especially when it gets lower, that Kraken just does a good job of chasing players all over the place. Hino Fan Club getting into mid as Lynn tries to get themselves established a little bit. Getting some players marked and trying to go in right there. Lands an indirect on a Basil who's going to jump out to make sure that their pencil doesn't get splatted as things start to settle in mid.
Yeah, pretty wild shot right there. I thought for sure that Shadow was going to back all the way up, and I think that Len did as well. Instead, Shadow holds ground with that splatter shot, punishes people there, and even forces a couple back with that. So very nice jobs kind of sensing the moment of where the game was about to end. Nolan just fires right through and now pulls out that Kraken that you were talking about there. And like you said, this is a map where you can get a lot of value out of this. And unlike some of those other modes that we talked about here, the Kraken can actually come right back down to mid, get the wall back out, and the main weapon gets to have a little fun as well, playing this beautifully to its full strength.
I liked how Nolan just backed off right there. Basically did a Kraken cancel, realized, oh wait, there's nothing for me here. Let me get back safely, establish my sub-weapon, and start taking care of business with that. It's not just the Kraken main that I'm known for. I can use this whole kit that this weapon has to offer. Points being ticked away, a bubbler being activated from the side of Moonlight, but here comes the soda from Hino Fan Club as they try to push in and find a weakness in this defense. The toothbrush gets eliminated, but there is a Kraken. Oh, and the splashdown does technically land still. That can't be completely canceled in Splatoon 3. That might have been enough to at least flip the zone back into Hinlo's favor.
Full desperation, and of all things, the splashdown is what saves them. But now you can see why the slight shift was made there from Len. And I want to talk, as it appears that this is all Moonlight all day so far, about that position that you've seen Nolan go to. Right now he switched over to the right side there to hold it, but watch as he moves over now to, I guess, the other right side, but underneath this grating. That 96 gal can challenge the natural perch that pencil always wants to go to and make things difficult, and it can't really be challenged while that wall is up there. So nice macro understanding there, firing at people, getting a little bit of support from Shadow as well. Omega on this side, it's a very replicable. They can do it over and over again. If Omega gets a couple here, they can take the game right now. Fires all the way through. Sunf jumping over the top, but they have not yet taken the zone. Working their way around. Can they get rid of the painters? Shadow comes back in just in time. Now trying to work over the top. Hold it. Fight it. 4, 3, 2, 1, and a 100-point score by Moonlight. We'll now have both of these teams trading out wins on their opponent's strongest mode. I think we might have ourselves a decent set.
I think you kind of nailed it with the spacing right there. Moonlight did a good job of protecting the right side and the other right side of the map, making sure there was just nowhere for Hino Fan Club to go, or at least no easy target that they could drop down to. You see them try to attack both sides and getting into 2v1s where the 1 was able to beat the 2 with the toothbrush doing a great job. We talk about in the last game the emergence of the decavitator. It's so much easier to call it the toothbrush in my favor. But I will say, when that weapon first came out, everyone was immediately gravitating like, oh, this is so good, especially the charcoal one with the jetpack. But with any new weapon, especially with the bow class, it's not splatter shot and pencil, which I've been using for 3 games now, or splatter shot and charger. It's a new weapon Do I want to invest time into learning it so that I can bring it into competitive, or is there just way easier just to use Gal and Shot and the Zap and all these things I know for sure? But when you put time into it, which Omega clearly has been, and I know other players have been doing it as well, and especially if you've been using Wiper a lot, which some players have been able to do over the course of Splatoon 3, you start to get the value out of that weapon that we all thought was there to begin with, and now we're starting to see it on the big stage, finally.
Yeah, it's a really cool weapon. It's got, I think, a really unique dynamic in terms of being such a slow, almost AoE style weapon, and the other part of it is, I think a lot of players just aren't used to the distance that gets closed when it makes that initial, like, charge forward swing. There's something about the human element of here where it's like, man, I don't know how to fight against this thing yet. It always shoots just a little bit further than you think. And of course, we all know what rollers and blasters are able to do when they get into your spawn, put down that big bubbler, and now suddenly, forget everything else that we were trying to accomplish. We have to deal with this threat. So I think it's not a secret that we've seen so much of it over the course of this 20XX league. I think we'll continue to see more of it. Japan has been breaking it out too. Maybe not to the same degree that a lot of other weapons are played, as you noted there, but I think it's here to stay. Although I will say, Toothbrush, come on, Dapples have been here for a long time. You're on Dapple Productions channel here. We cannot take away the original toothbrush-based weapon that were those Dapple Dualies, Popgun. That's just rude.
That is true. And actually, I was having a conversation earlier with somebody about, we got the pencil with the, we have the pin with the ballpoint.
Yep.
We do already have the crowns as well. And it's surprising to me we haven't seen Clash Blaster being used with how popular of a weapon that it is in Dominant. But yeah, we have all kinds of different things represented when you start to think about it. Game 3 coming up. Did we even mention that this is a play-in set, that the winner moves on and the loser is going to be watching the stream next week? This is an extremely important
buried the lead for
teams.
sure.
And so we're going in game 3 here. That is Tower Control at Mako Mart. Speaking of the toothbrush, and this is yet another wrinkle Moonlight has put in. This used to be the Carbon, well, it still is the Carbon playground, and this used to be Omega Automatic, going to be using that Zuka Carbon, but now even in this league, now it was Splat Zones that we've seen them play earlier, but they've been continuously using the Wiper with the hammer exclusively almost on this map and mode, so the Carbon might not make an appearance where we typically see it again from Moonlight here.
Yeah, and you brought up a weapon earlier from Nolan that I think is one of the big reasons you started to see that.
Squeezer, right.
Yeah, they still want to run double Zuka there, so you are correct in that sense, but now they've got another way to get to it. And despite all the nerfs, if you can play a Squeezer at a high level, I mean, come on. Come on, that weapon is still nuts. It's just maybe not horrifically outscaling everything that it fights against good, but that has given them another angle. I think it's been a very natural transition for Nolan as well. I mean, maybe his, bumper on his controller disagrees, has to hit it a few more times now with this weapon. But like you said, it still gives them a way to get to the type of game plan they want. And that's really kind of the big angle. And I know the players are getting into the lobby right now. Oh, perfect. Called it right as it is. We'll see what Len ends up picking, if it's the Vanilla Blaster or the Splashdown. I would wager it's going to be Vanilla, but Nolan actually brings out the custom range blaster. So we'll erase the last 30 seconds of what I was saying here. They're doing the same strat that's worked since Splatoon 1.
So they used that weapon last week on Tower Control Art Academy. So maybe they're just thinking Blaster and Tower Control in general. But goodbye. It's been 10 seconds. You've been on the map too long. Going for the flank right off the bat instantly gets denied. Let's see if Moonlight can capitalize off of it. The answer is no, because Lexi dropping down with the pencil is starting to release some players. And right now the flank has finally landed right there. Hinlo Fan Club being aggressive at the beginning. Didn't work until it did.
Yeah, and you saw that Synapse immediately went to the exact same spot that they got taken out at earlier, saying, this is the game plan, and I will stick to it no matter what here. I've got to get under their drop and get my wall up, and now pivot over to this side. I love when players are able to identify where the attack is coming from and just a little bit of RNG away from taking out Omega. I'm not sure I've ever seen this quickly get down to this checkpoint. They might be able to get through it here. Can they dance around on top of it?
Goodness.
Oh, they do. They get past the checkpoint in a minute.
Omega is trying to carry the corpse of Moonlight into the continuation of this game, and it looks like they'll be able to do just that, stalling just long enough for the rest of their teammates to come back in. But damage done, 2 checkpoints, and that second checkpoint is not an easy thing to clear. The first checkpoint's really difficult to get past as well on this map, just the way it's positioned. But still, 3 minutes, 30 seconds left to go. Plenty of time for Moonlight to get back into this one. But Hino Fan Club is not showing any signs of slowing down. They're not going to be turtling up and trying to hold on to this lead. They're continuing to push up, continuing to try to control the stack areas right here. Lin trying to get set up and find a good spot to put this bubbler for the rest of their teammates to get in position. Hino Fan Club keeping the aggression going.
Yeah, keeping the aggression going, and I think more than anything, just finding ways to get behind. I don't even know how in the world this ended up happening here, but you can bet they're going to suffer.
What?
Okay, wow. All right, you know what? I will never defend the 52 gal, but right there, I feel like a few of those shots probably should have hit. Now Nolan taking the unfortunate dive to the bomb, but you're seeing again the strategy here of, putting some of these bombs out, putting the right players in the right position there, especially working alongside this left and right portion of Mako Mart. We all know that that's where the carbon rollers and the wipers will charge there, but they've just been very clever about how they're attacking these weak points. We saw it at the very beginning of the game where Synapse immediately went to drop. Now Len working this side as well. And then they can always shuffle the deck if they think that things are starting to get away from them here. It's replicability that you're seeing.
I love I talked about how aggressive Hino Fan Club is being, but I loved how more decisive or picky Lin has been, just kind of sharking around mid, waiting for those opportunities to present themselves, not trying to play hero ball in a sense, but make sure just to get everything that is presented to you. But right now, Moonlight able to get control of this first checkpoint. Bazooka shot is going to land. The question is going to be, can they do damage at the second checkpoint, though? There's a lot of players left alive for Hinlo. They are away from specials. They do have one Zuka ready to go. But the question is going to be, are they going to be in a position to attack it? Hinlo kind of just stuck back there, firing over at Omega on the right side of the map, not going to get the splat, but everybody else did seem to collapse onto the tower, so Moonlight's going to have to back off for now.
Yeah, I think there was a real missed opportunity. That last Trizuka shot that ended up taking out that last member from Shadow, I think there was a chance for a member to maybe swing around on that right side like we saw Synapse do earlier there. Instead, they all rotated back towards the middle of the map, and I think that meant that it was that much easier to defend. Now, to their credit, they didn't give up a whole lot, and Nolan will hit the point-blank direct to close it. Should have a good angle here on this pencil, and even at the last second, gets out the Kraken, finally getting the better of one of these exchanges. A real opportunity here, but again, Nolan backs up and goes to the center because all three of the teammates are there. Synapse takes the dive to try to slow it down here. Popgun, this should be a chance, especially with that great Trizuka shot.
That's it. The Trizuka eliminated the pencil. Synapse trying to flank around that right stack. Everything just perfectly countered by Moonlight, dealing with all the punches being thrown their way. And even Nolan doing a little dance onto the tower to keep things going a little bit longer. But a 4-point lead. Here's the problem if you are a Moonlight fan. Hinlo Fan Club doesn't have any checkpoints to go through. They can just coast the tower all the way to 21 remaining. That'll be enough to get them the lead. They got 20 seconds to work with as well, and 2 players down on the side of Moonlight. Lexi's going to start pushing up, getting onto the tower, and Lynn's going to start ledge camping. Has to find a good spot to put this bubbler, though, to clear out the path for them to try to get the tower moving. It's going to come down to, can't they get somebody on that right side? The bubbler's going to be used on the tower. That's going to protect against a couple of things, but here comes the Kraken that can slide right up through and hop onto the tower. Your bubbler's not going to destroy that mythical creature. Moonlight steals the game and holds on.
Yeah, great patience. And, Nolan, I called out, took the unfortunate dive onto the bomb earlier, so I have to give credit. Absolutely broke that game open partway through. Really changed the tide of where it was going. Taking a couple members out, that's always been the snowball element of that custom range blaster. You hit maybe a normal shot that you would normally hit from a custom range blaster, and then you get the direct on the revenge. You pop your Kraken. Now suddenly everything has changed. And, that is the advantage of being a team that has played around Kraken so often. Really, the Kraken team, if you've been following North American Splatoon for any amount of time. Listen, cheese or not within Clan Blitz, if you play with a Kraken on your team every single game, you will have to get good at playing with the Kraken on your team and what that special can bring. So a fantastic job to them winning on the counter pick, now taking that counter pick advantage back for themselves. They still have a couple Clan Blitz maps that they'll be able to fall back onto later as this set goes further on. A great victory for them.
Yeah, a flip of the script as far as who's winning what. Hinlo Fan Club taking game 1 in pretty much comfortable fashion. Ev Clan Blitz, but then Moonlight winning on Splat Zones and Tower Control. So what comes next? Rainmaker isn't in this tournament, unless I did my homework incorrectly. So there's not a whole lot of options left to go to. And yeah, do you want to go back to Clan Blitz if you're Hinlo Fan Club because you won on it, even though you know Moonlight's got momentum and wind behind their sails? I don't think they're going to do that specifically. We'll wait to see what the official counterpick is going to be. Well, there you go. It is Splat Zones. Is that Barnacle and Dime? Is that what I'm looking at there?
It sure is. And I think this is the pick, maybe not this map, I didn't really care, but that I wanted to see, because I really think that on Mahi Mahi, you ran into, hey, Moonlight has the 96 gal that can play at a spot and can be not unchallenged. That's a little bit grandiose, but very difficult to move here. Once it gets to that spot, it's difficult. So let's go Barnacle and Dime. This is one of the most popular Splat Zones maps, especially since it's remodel, because you've got a lot of different angles that you can try to come out of spawn from and that you can poke at the opponent's spawn from. So I think this is a great pick here. Again, for Hinlo Fan Club, Splat Zones has been how they've made their money, relatively speaking, over the course of this tournament. So as the players get ready here, I'll be interested to see, not from changes on their side, but I do wonder what Moonlight is going to change to, if anything. That CRB did look pretty good, but again, it's tower control. I understand why you play it there.
I think so far from what they've shown us, and again, that's another new version number 27 of Moonlight that they've come out with, Tower Troll exclusive. There is possibility of a change from Hinlo Fan Club, though. Obviously, they've been using the same 4 weapons nonstop most of the time. I wonder if this is now when they're going to start using that Ink Strike from the Neo Splash. The problem is they have to lose Ink Zuka to do it, and Zuka on a map like this can be very deadly, especially when you know the game plan for both teams is, if I could eliminate their pencil, I cut off like 50% of their painting supply right off the bat. The Zuka can do a whole heck of a lot of that, although Ink Strikes can do a lot to attack the zone on top of that as well. So that might be the only one change we could see coming out. But other than that, yeah, I think we pretty much know what to expect from both teams at this point.
Yeah, that's a really good point, too. And the role that support shooter has sort of played recently, especially at the openings of a lot of these games, you'll see, obviously, all of the turf at spawn is just for that pencil. That pencil's just going to sit back, fire a few shots on both sides, and come back out 10 seconds in with their cooler. But you'll see a lot of times that shooter is going to take whatever the other flank route is, build up their Trizuka, and then fire that on, kind of swing it in to support their attackers here. But I think that becomes very difficult to make use of over and over if you're not getting value in time with your frontliners going forward and attacking here. So there would be a little bit more flexibility that would come out if they switched over to it. On one side, it's going to be sticking with that same shot, and on the other side, it's, again, sticking with shot. So it's Trizukas all day, apparently.
Hey, we're playing Splatoon. You know what I'm going to do, and I know what you're going to do. Strange, isn't it?
Wow.
Not really, when you get to know these two teams pretty well here. Hinlo Fan Club trying to stop the bleeding, though. Lost 2 in a row. Momentum is a thing that you want to keep in mind. The good news for, well, I was just about to praise. They didn't get anybody splatted in the first 10 seconds. That is still true. But here comes Lin. I've been waiting for this. When is Lin going to start popping off and taking care of things? We saw them being very picky with their last splats, getting a nice double right there that turned into a triple, blowing the doors wide open for Hinlo Fan Club to get the lead.
Yeah, and I think whether or not Omega and Len meet in the middle of a fight sort of determines how that fight ends up going here. Because when you're going against just a couple shooters, it's not so bad. Or when, of course, you can get the jump on, you know, your great foe there with that toothbrush. But that's really kind of changed it here. That weapon is built to go against a lot of different shooters and fight in that respect. So they have completely changed it. Just that opening scuffle there. Oh, and I blinked here. We're down to just 30 ticks left on this timer here. This big bubbler isn't going to be able to break them back in. Maybe it can give them a little sustenance, but that Trizuka might be what they need, and now Omega can dive in and try to save this.
I hate to give credit to Zukas, but, well, actually, they haven't really done a whole lot right now, and they are going to get that bubbler up. They do flip the zone back into their favor, Moonlight. I was wondering, because that Zuka did open up the spot for them to get a bubbler, at least on one half of the zone, but it was enough to distract people so that the pencil could lay down the paint necessary to get the zone back into their favor. And now we see Moonlight trying to dig themselves out of the hole, and this is going to be their best opportunity to do it. No penalty points to work through. They got Hino Fan Club boxed up a little bit. The problem is they're not going to have their Kraken ready to go, and here comes Steinops along the right side with a pencil to work with, getting a nice splat on Omega, and that's going to open up the door for the rest of their teammates to come right back in. We're going to have a tug of war for the zone.
Yeah, they're going to have to get back in a hurry here because that was coolered up. They'll at least take the zone there, give themselves some breathing room. But Henlo opened that up by taking the dive with that shooter there to try to move some people around and give Synapse a chance to come back in. So, again, great recognition of where that game was headed in that moment there. Sometimes you have to take the dive and take the eyes off of your teammates there. They then parlay that into a nice fight zone, and now they've got a real opportunity. Now we're going to see a lot more of the set play that we're used to here. I build up specials. I go at zone with specials. How do you defend against it? Right now, it's taken the two members that have maybe overextended slightly, and yeah, they'll take the zone off of it. Nolan going down, but the two painters will ensure they at least take the zone.
How do I defend it? Well, I throw Zuka right back at you, and maybe it lands and maybe it doesn't. And that time it does land, but it doesn't do enough to save the zone right now. But this is what Hino Fan Club is more than happy to sign up for. A 2-minute tug of war. I take the zone, you take the zone. We both have so many penalty points that nobody's going to really accomplish anything, and then the game's just going to end. The problem is, if you are Moonlight, you're going to have to be the team that takes more chances. You're going to have to start pushing up a little bit more, trying to find those splats that might not be there, and that's exactly what they're doing right now, except those splats were there for the taking because there's a lot of yellow paint starting to form on Hinlo's side of the map.
Yeah, and Shadow should be very, very close to another Trizuka at this point. I believe I saw at least 3/4 of the way there, which means that anybody who dives in is going to be supported by that range here. Should be a great opportunity. Nolan Cooler, but gets taken down. Here's the Trizuka that was promised, and they do take, I think, maybe 2 members down with that. Go ahead and turf it up right here, get some more points off that. And I think that now the tacticaler favor has swung now back towards Moonlight here. They should have an opportunity to dive here once they get everybody back.
And they got Soda to work with as well. Oh, but 2 players getting eliminated instantly. I didn't even see what that was. That Lin
Yes.
making another play? That's the same spot. Lin has been able to get around that left side of their map and get shots right there where it seems Moonlight seems to be congesting whenever they're attacking the zone. So good spot right there. Lin's trying to find those sweet spots to really make impact plays and holds on by 1 point. And oh, by the way, Hinlo doesn't have a lot of penalty points they have to go through right now before they can get the KO in their favor with 30 seconds left to go. Popping the bubbler onto the zone. There's not going to be one responding from the toothbrush, but the Zuka shots do land all the way through. Penalty points are gone, but it looks like Moonlight's going to get at least one more opportunity to steal lead back.
Yep, great work right there. Again, Shadow so disciplined in turfing and making sure that they have the special to make it happen. Maybe goes a little further, but I'm sorry. I think the tacticaler placement there actually saved Shadow because there were definitely some shots going through. Picks off Len, who was just a slight bit overexposed. Nolan's going to survive here at the end of this Kraken as well. They've got everybody set up the way they want to, and if they survive and nobody goes down to this Trizuka, I think they're going to take this.
Comes down to this, 2 players getting eliminated just at the perfect time for Hinlo Fan Club. Hinlo themselves able to jump onto the zone, and that ties up the set at 2 apiece. They got a huge lead and then just played Splatoon for 4 minutes, and ultimately the lead they got was just enough to hold on to get them the dub at the end right there. Nicely done by them. You talked about that Soda thing, blocking a couple of shots. It almost blocked a Zuka shot as well, and I think it ate a suction bomb. You should be able to destroy that thing. I'm just saying. You can destroy Bubbler, you can destroy beacons, you can destroy all kinds of things in this game. You can destroy Wavebreaker. You
By
can't
accident.
touch. And there is no deity in the game more powerful than the soda dispenser.
I mean, I guess the tower moving into it, destroying it. The one...
That's true.
The one thing, and I think on Lemuria, sometimes that moving platform can get rid of it. But your point is well taken here, and a wild scramble at the end of that game going in favor, as you noted, to Henlo Fan Club, who a pretty even game. It's so often we talk about that opening push in this game is your best opportunity to score the big points, because that's when it doesn't matter if you had special built up, that gets pushed back. It's just mathematically the best chance for you to make lots of scoring opportunities. But man, Len, with that shot there, I was stunned that both of them went down as quickly as they did. You and I both kind of recoiled a little bit, and I think the members of Moonlight did too, because when you're that far back, you know that the opponent doesn't have a Trizuka anymore. You're thinking, all right, what can take two of us out this quickly? Just a bomb. There's no bomb here. We'll take a couple trickle shots from an enemy shooter or something like that, but we're okay. We're fine. Nothing can take us down this quick. And if it hadn't taken them down that quick and covered half of the zone with the ink that came from their bodies, I don't know that they would have kept lead in that point. So as a blaster player, that's kind of the MO, especially these days. You have to be very patient, very deliberate about picking your spots. And you said it really well at the start of the game, Popgun. When was it going to be Len's time? Len started the game and opened the scoring and slammed the door shut that gave them, or kept them, the lead rather. And again, 2-2. This was the type of set we wanted to see from these two teams.
Len doesn't have a bomb other than a chicken, which randomly gets kills, but has a weapon that basically shoots bombs nonstop at people and knows how to get the indirects and combo those into doubles and triples on top of that. So, we have a counter pick coming out from Moonlight. I wonder what it could possibly be. Could it be perhaps Clam Blitz at Umami? If it's not here, we'll definitely see it a little bit later, because that is I believe when Moonlight first became a team, it was written in their contracts. You have to be so happy and thrilled to see this every single time we get an opportunity to play it. So can we serve? What is our? Do we have a counter pick for that? Yes, here we go.
Survey
and
says
the reveal is it's museum.
Okay. Half of it right. You know, yeah, fair enough. It was going to be one of these two there. Sometimes you lose the coin flip. I get it. But yeah, to your point, if we don't see it now, we're going to see it later. So, you know, this, I think, really, again, plays to what Moonlight does just as a team, especially now that they've started to move Omega over to the Decavitator. When you've got the big bubbler and you've got the Kraken there, it separates the opposing players there, changes the entire dynamic of how a fight can go. And on some of these wider maps, that can really break things open in I think, a way that's hard to track, hard to control. And that's sort of what we're trying to do here in high-level Splatoon is, okay, how can we regulate all of this chaos that is going on, that is tactical, or that is moving forward? It's not so easy, but the Inklings move too fast and die too quickly to, try anything but that. So that can, again, throw these big wrinkles into these fights. But I will say, I would have said the exact same thing about Scorch Gorge, and we saw how that game went. So, Henlo Fan Club, probably not too unhappy to see a map of this style come up, even if they do know that maybe Moonlight should be favored here.
There's also a slight chance we might not see Kraken here. There could be a Nolan Squeezer that is used on this map, which would be so bizarre. But I think that's what they used last time they did this Clan Blitz on Museum mode. We'll see once the team's ready up and we get the weapon selection picked in. If they do use the Kraken, though, the game plan for Hinlo is going to be the same. Jump onto the players. Let's make sure we have control mid. When the Kraken runs in, okay, cool. Let's make sure they don't have those jumps. Or let's also be as aggressive as we have been. Keep the fight on the enemy side of the map so those Krakens get burned early on the defensive side of things, and they're going to have to waste time building them back up. Here we do see the Kraken is going to be used, so they still got the Zuka coming out from the splatter shot. No changes from the side of Hinlo Fan Club as well. We are readied up, and we are ready to play.
The one change in the lobby, Omega finally bringing out that wiper here. So, hey, this can be a thorn in the side of anybody, especially once it gets set up in this middle area where it has tons of room to run and to play. Finally jumps out here to reshuffle the deck and go ahead and grab a drink. But, hey, if there was ever a time to do it, when you're diving on people coming down on this map and they bring out that Ultra Stamp, you just kind of resign yourself to your fate and hope that works again next time.
So I love that jump out from Omega, because we see so many people make an opening on this map. I'm going to flank to the right and see if I can make something happen. And when there's nothing there and you're just stuck in a 1v3 with everyone else having the height advantage, just get out of there. Don't just take the death for free. And that's what Omega did, able to jump back, get Soda with their teammates, and now they're all going in together, led by the Kraken. Under 60 on this opening push. Things are looking really good for Moonlight.
Yep, and look at that. Basil already got another Tacticooler out there and stayed safe there. So yeah, I would imagine Omega's probably going to dive forward. Shadow just an inch short of scoring that, but I like that decision there. Worst case scenario, you were coolered and you'll respawn in time to make a defense. And now look at this. Omega has dove back in on the side, and man, that is so fun on Museum here. You always have something that you can do to try to flank around opponents and make their lives difficult there. The other members had moved forward so quickly that they score here, and it's all for naught. But I will say, Moonlight in a good position to try to defend this out. With Omega behind, they should be able to close this out and at least hold on to their lead for the time being. A big, big defense there when things could have gotten out of hand.
This is going to turn into a track meet really quickly because we've just seen both teams rush to the enemy basket and lose a lot of players in the process. And we're going to see Moonlight try to get right back up there again because they essentially got another wipe. The last player forced to jump out. Omega's going to be attacking from the other right side. Everybody else is going to be pushing from the right side. There goes a hammer across the mid, and Moonlight's going to pop the basket yet again and get punished for it yet again. So if they lose too many players on this, we might just see Hino flip the script on them yet again. Finally, it looks like Moonlight starting to realize we're in a safe position to some players. Let's back off a little bit. Let's control mid. Let's slow this game down. We got a decent lead as we're approaching the halfway mark right now. Let's try to bring this fight back to mid and let Omega try to make something happen.
Yeah, and I love that that was also opened up by Shadow firing that Trizuka at the very end. I think conventionally you'd think, okay, this push is probably done. I'm going to save my Trizuka for the defensive side. When you throw that there is, oh, Mega, come on now. I was about to compliment you here, and now I have to talk about something else. But again, keeping some sort of pressure on your opponent's side of the map and not giving up mid for free, that's how you end up creating these long sustained pushes on this map. As I say it now, two have gone down. They are pushed back into the corner as well. Henlo kind of just waiting. They can't really get past this splash wall. Once Synapse gave up that high ground to Nolan, it meant they could sit up, and that may have slowed them down just enough. Synapse is going to get one in, but I don't think they're going to be able to score that other. They had the resources to take this lead, but I think it's going to slip through their fingers.
Lynn not being greedy right there. Saw the power clam. I could reach it. I can get it in there. No. Let's get out. Let Lexi control mid. Well, let Lexi survive in mid while we all jump in, and then Omega just slices everything up. Okay, maybe not. Maybe Moonlight is going to be in a great position right here to pop the basket yet again, throw in another clam on top of that. It looks like they do have enough to get the KO if they can get there in time. Lynn trying to defend the back door. The basket will close, though. But man, Moonlight has been wasting no opportunity. If you give them just a slight little opening of the window, they barge all the way right through. And it seems like Hinlo just never has an opportunity to get set up to do anything defensively.
Well, the pace of play is completely shifted, too, now that Omega is on this wiper here. I mean, I won't say that the decab is a slow or helpless weapon by any means, but it's totally different when your weapon is made to run right forward and fight the world and move and be difficult to hit. You see poor Len can't really even close any of these shots on this, and then once it gets in, it can do this. So, I mean, this has been a mainstay at the top of Splatoon for a while. Jump it in and let's go. Moonlight, what a change to make here. And I will be surprised if Omega doesn't keep this weapon out there. That completely changed the dynamic of how those exchanges were going, map and mode notwithstanding.
You ever just shooting your weapon, kind of painting your own side of the map, thinking you've got everything under control? You turn around, and then there's a hammer Pac-Manning its way right towards your skull, and there's nothing you can do about it. I think we literally saw that player stop and reflect on their entire life choices right before that hammer eliminated right there. But yeah, I mean, that you talk about the bubbler being such a good defensive special, helps you kind of capture certain spaces and move up with it in unique different ways. The hammer just provides a little bit more offensive chaos. You saw a lot more times where the hammer got chucked. And yes, there's lots of times where hammers get chucked and they don't land on anything. But the one out of a million times it does something cool, that's when they put it up on Twitter. I understand that. But it's just a little bit of an extra layer of chaos that gets added into everything. Will they continue to use that one? I don't know. The history has shown they've been kind of sticking to that toothbrush when it comes to it. But it worked out. It definitely worked out in that game.
Yeah, it did. And again, just incredible how the fights had changed, right? Up to this point, you're seeing a lot of, again, when the chaos comes through, because it's chaos created by Moonlight, they're able to find their footing in the positions they want. They're used to playing around what that opens here. That time, it was just a battle of speed over and over, and at the very end of it all, once a couple members had taken a couple shots, gotten a little beat up, that's where Shadow was able to find the right angles with those Trizukas to continue pressuring even after the push had ended, made sure that everybody stayed. It was a track meet, I agree, for the first little bit, and then you just never really saw Henlo Fan Club find ways to slow them down for long enough. So that's what a counterpick should look like on paper, a nice knockout there. And again, after that opening scramble, it really went. But now this is it for Henlo Fan Club. And sure enough, it's going to be Splat Zones here for what might be their final game here. Certainly their final counterpick that they'll have. And of course, it's going to be Mako Mart. But I'll admit, I was a little more impressed with how Mako Mart was being played as a map by Moonlight. So to take it back here, they must have something that they like on this in zones.
I think we'll probably see Nolan not use the blaster this time around as
Probably.
well. Could see Squeezer come out here. For that, the good thing about this game versus the last one, yeah, it was a track meet. I think the trap was Hinlo fell for that. Okay, we're going fast. All right, we'll go fast with you. We're going to jump to our pencil who clearly has mid. No, that you don't have control of mid. All three of your players that are jumping into Lexi are going to get blasted by Omega. You got sped up. You played to the dance Moonlight was leading. This time, it'll be a little bit more slower. It's a little bit more of a classic map and mode. My opinion, the final destination for competitive Splatoon, or at least we've been, it was in Splatoon 2. Such a great map that a lot of different things work out here. Obviously, Lynn's going to be happy to go back to the blaster thing. Omega, if Omega's not using Carbon, it's because they found something that they love even more on a map like this. And quite honestly, I think we will see the Wiper come back out here again. I think we've seen them use that here in the past to kind of complement everything else the rest of the changes Moonlight has done as well. So you wanted Wiper, I think you might see it.
Well, thank you for the homework there. I've been copying your homework for most of this so far.
That hasn't worked out well for you.
Well, the one time I deviated from you was that last set. So,
Yes.
maybe every dog has its day. But all right, here we are, folks. You can see the graphic right there. Match point. Let's take a look. It is going to be the Wiper staying out. And now Whoa, this is an entire pivot. Hold on. Talk about playing into your prep. Popgun, this is Bamboo. We've got dualies. This is incredibly different.
What is the kid on that thing? They got a chicken and killer whale. I can't even think when, not even in low ink will you see somebody use Bamboo anymore. Basil opting to use it right now. There's no pencil. However, they still got in zap so that they can provide the soda. But my goodness, this activates Basil in a whole completely different way. They're now engaged all the way up at the start of the map. Hitlo Fan Club is going to have to adapt to this. There's no way they were predicting this was coming.
No, and you talk about, again, changing the pace of play and what the opponent can see and what they can deal with here. Now you've got a crab that you have to try to fight through as well. Like you said, Basil is now activated, moving and staying active instead of always being late to the party there, is kind of joining in at the start. Look at this. They've been firing at the zone for a while. There were a lot of people firing at the zone. They didn't get it. 2 went down. 3 went down. The other one jumped out. We're going to call that a wipe here just for posterity. Can they even get to the zone, much less win this game?
35 points remaining to go right here. One player going down from each side. Hinlo Fan Club firing some desperation Zuka shots, but they don't land. And 2 players left in the zone for Moonlight as they're trying to outpaint the pencil. The Bamboo can fire a lot of shots quickly, but more players starting to go down from each side. It's just this awkward tug of war. Nobody can really establish control of anything. Hinlo Fan Club finally able to do so. The killer whales being fired off, just creating enough of distraction. I don't know if they're going to hold on to control of things, though, because nobody's still established complete control of mid. Here comes some more Zuka shots finally as Nolan's just using this crab. Kind of a panic special right here. Gonna be punished. But man, what an opening from Moonlight. And Hinlo Fan Club is just thrilled they're still alive in this tournament.
Yeah, totally. Ignore everything I was about to say. Oh man, if the life was still in your eyes after that last game here, I don't know how Omega got back there either. I don't know how 4 members weren't able to call it out either, but them's the breaks, my friends. And now once again, Nolan up on this side, very close to another crab tank. Would love to put it up on that same spot. This is just, it's great when the scientists win every once in a while, you know, when they have a real gotcha moment in this game where so much has stabilized and closed out. That first lead, they're going to continue to try to milk as long as they can. In the meantime, a fight over on this side, and still fights through and gets it there. Shooters carnage on the center here. Popgun, I don't think either of these teams have found their footing yet, and I know I certainly haven't.
So far, Hino Fan Club, even though they have control of zone right now, the difficulty is they keep getting trades. They keep finding ways to where they get a splat and then somebody comes from nowhere and gets the splat right on top of them. They need to start winning these 1v1s cleanly and start helping out each other, finding ways to get into those positions. But Moonlight, it's just pure chaos right now. And this is when Moonlight wins. This is how they beat Starburst in LTC. Finding ways to land all those things. Omega just going all over the map. Hino Fan Club needs to start corralling these players, keep the fights in front of them, working together. Otherwise, they're going to be eliminated right here.
Well, and just one other nice wrinkle here that this bamboo has brought in is really a lot of the times when you're finding Omega getting taken down, it's because there's pre-firing. It's because they know the angle that you're doing. If the bamboo is firing at you, you sort of have to move away. And in just that one little bit, you lose that advantage against Omega. And then to say nothing for Shadow jumping on top of you after that is done. 15 ticks of the timer left. Nolan is on left side fighting with Synapse. If he wins this fight, that should be it. They're going to try to get it at zone, but you're not going to overpaint and end zap everybody diving 2-1, and Moonlight, despite what most of the commentators, myself included, predicted when we put this in, will get the victory over Hino Fan Club. And I said it mid-game, it's nice when the scientists win, when a true gotcha moment from a dramatic comp change leaves the opponent scrambling with no time to formulate a counterattack. And what a Moonlight-esque set. They got the wins on the maps that they expected to, but they also found some unique ways to play to some of their team and players' individual strengths. They changed up drastically partway through, and they showed us a real treat as they punched the final ticket, Popgun.
110 opportunities for teams to pick weapons. Only 3 times did we not see a blue pencil get picked. That was one of the 3 times, and it came out of nowhere. And look, they still kept their soda. Shadow, you get to use InZap this time. It's Basil's turn to play the video game. And boy, howdy did they play it. We don't get to see the stats. I don't need to see the stats to know. Just the difference in positioning Basil was showing with that weapon. It's almost like they were trying to frontline with it at several times, especially at the beginning. Just getting up there, and that allowed... Oh, well, I'm focusing on this. I'm not going to pay attention to this hammer that's coming out of nowhere, or this dually that's just rolling all over the map as well. That's also just a new thing. I'm struggling to think, and I watch Low Ink a lot. We see a lot of like, what in the world? Where did this comp come from? That's one of the most out of left field things I've seen, and I wonder just like what was going through Hino's fan club's mind as they were looking through that. Just like, what in the world was that?
Yeah, incredible stuff to pull it out there. I think my camera went out in a very unflattering facial expression, so, you know, we'll ignore that and nobody will screenshot it. But
wow.
Yeah, putting yourself in the minds of the players is something that we try to do often here in the booth to try to just get a sense of like, man, what does this actually feel like? And yeah, drastically changed here. I mean, I think that was the first time Hino Fan Club had to even deal with, you know, the whale, which is something that we, you know, didn't really talk a whole lot about either, just because there were 10 other things to talk about in that game. But that little bit of extra damage means that the crab has a slightly easier time, or maybe just one vertical slash coming out from Omega is enough to finish the job. And I think even one time we saw the auto bomb get somebody too. I mean, every part was working for them, firing on all cylinders. Even that gosh darn crab tank on right box there that won Splatoon 3 for, you know, the first couple of months of the game, first few months really. You know, it's a deserved victory for Moonlight. They absolutely wanted to make top 4. I know that they have been grinding hard. They haven't had some of the results they'd hoped for recently, but when they keep coming up with new strategies like this, it clearly shows they're still fired up, trying to find new ways to play their brand of Splatoon and make it work. And you know, Hino Fan Club, a tip of the cap to you, fought hard, had to go through a very, very long bracket just to make it to this qualifying portion of this league. There was qualifying to get into this league, then there's qualifying to get into top 4. and 1 out of 3 is as far as they will get.
They got sped up again in that last game. We're talking about, oh, well, it's Splat Zone's Mako Mart. They can slow down and relax. Well, here comes a bamboo and a hammer and dualies. What in the world? Another week of Moonlight getting to brainstorm another kind of opportunity here. There's some showmanship, you think. This is kind of the, we're going to show, put some game film out there, make some other teams practice for bamboo, and then we'd use something completely different. Who knows? We'll get the answer to that next week as we get the conclusion of this set. Moonlight moving on to the top 4, and that's going to do it for us here. A sad, horrible day for fan clubs everywhere, as not a single fan club moves on to the top 4. It's just horrible day across the board right there. 9, I think we're wrapping this up here. What are you up to this week? How's life?
Yeah, no, fantasy football teams winning. So, that very important in terms of, your mental psyche here. Unfortunately, my actual IRL football team was terrible this year. So, it's you win some and you lose some, oftentimes lose some. But no, thank you again to the staff for having me here. You can find me on most platforms at 9 Whole Grains. But looking forward to this top 4 here. There's a lot to be done in terms of homework here. I'm sure there's plenty of content that's going to be brought up around this. It's so nice when a league can actually get to its conclusion, because let me tell you, seen a lot of league efforts over the course of my time in Splatoon, and not a lot of them have actually gotten to finish in a satisfactory manner here. But the 4 teams that made it here, I think certainly the 4 teams deserving of it. We'll get to see that next week there. And Bobcon, I know you've got an entire other mammoth of a tournament that's currently going on. I believe, right now even. What do you got coming up this week and I guess the rest of the day?
Well, first off, I'm going to go hop in and make sure there's nothing on fire with that right now. Looks
Fair.
like we're in losers finals of Low Ink. And yeah, if your fantasy team is doing good, that must mean you don't have a single Rams player on it with how things are going with that.
They're all
regardless
injured,
though, you'll see me tomorrow talking about what you just saw, talking about Low Ink on the Popcast, 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. There's also some more stuff coming down the pipe that you will see a couple of us on in the future. I won't leak that here, but keep your eyes peeled for that. And of course, keep your eyes peeled for the finals, which is going to be a week from today on this Dapple production channel. Until then, thank you for watching. Congratulations once again to Moonlight and the other team that won right before this. That is not Datkid Fan Club.
No, it's Black Lotus, Fluffy Black Lotus, if we're going their full bit here. The team that you didn't pick, I'll continue to harp that on since we're both licking our wounds for our prediction for this set. I did want to cut in here because we did get pinged. Bottom of the screen, directly below me right now, you can see the prize pool, dapple.inc/prize pool. You're not going to get a more straightforward URL than that one, folks. That's about as easy as it's going to get, but continue to contribute to this event. Let's get a little economy here, a little currency flowing through. I know the players appreciate it and the staff appreciates it too. That's why they pinged and told me to mention it. But let's get a great final portion to this
We're going to cut it right there. I think we'll cut it right there. Thank you for coming. We'll see you next week. Have a good night.